All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the NBA Draft Live Reaction Show for day one of the NBA Draft. It's great to have you here. I am Mike Guido. I'll be joined by Tyler Redington in a moment. But this is to be known right now as the Cooper Flag Draft, right? We've seen in a couple of years ago, we saw the Victor Wembanyama draft. This is now the year of Cooper Flag. We are mere minutes away from Cooper Flag being likely announced as the number one pick in this year's draft to the Dallas Mavericks. And it is quite the opportunity. As you've noticed, no Bryson Carver for the first time in the Gryd's history for the NBA draft show. I wish I had a boo Bryson button, but I don't. I'm just joking. I love him, but we're all in good spirits here. It's going to be a great show. Again, the first round tonight, the second round being tomorrow night. I'll be here for that as well. So we have plenty of stuff to go over today. Tyler Redington joining me as well. His Dallas Mavericks are on the clock, or they will be on the clock shortly. Tyler Redington, how are you feeling today with Cooper Flag likely entering the building after today?
I feel great. You know, one of those roller coasters you get on where it's very scary going up and you don't know what's going on up top. You kind of want to get off at some certain point. That's how it's been for these Dallas Mavericks fans. But we'll take it. 1.8%, it doesn't matter. We'll take it because we need it. And Cooper Flag fits into a team that's, has a lot of veterans on it. That is not just a Charlotte Hornets, Washington Wizards like team where he'll immediately be the best first or second player. He's coming into a squad where he's going to be learning from all NBA players, Hall of Fame players. So I think it's a different situation for him that's going to bode well.
Yeah, it should be something to look forward to over in Dallas. And like I said, we are fully expecting that Cooper Flag is going to be the name that will be announced first in this year's draft. Other names that I think you should look out for, guys like Dylan Harper out of Rutgers, Ace Bailey also out of Rutgers. That's going to be an interesting story of where he lands in this draft, where he hasn't really been all that cooperative in the pre-draft process, really kind of skipping workouts. It's been a very interesting sort of tale for Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey's my number 2 overall player. I love him as a prospect. I think he's fantastic. I have him ranked ahead of Dylan Harper, but again, we'll see where he lands. He's made it very clear that he doesn't want to be drafted by certain teams, so we'll see what that presents. Adam Silver now is at the podium as we're about to get ready to kick off the NBA draft.
Let's go.
It is quite the event here. We are going to keep tabs on everything. We have Shams on speed dial at the moment. So yeah. We are ready to go for all the trades, for all of the happenings. It's been a wild offseason in the NBA so far, but we'll be tracking every single pick heading up into this year.
Hey, Mike, one thing, Mark Stein did say that Cooper Flag had his workout with Dallas, and it had the whole brass of Mavs organization, and that he was better than anybody had intended. They were blown away by his shot making, the ability to make the outrange shot consistently. So people are very, very excited about the prospect of bringing Cooper Flag to Dallas.
And that certainly seems like the likely scenario. Cooper Flag. By the way, one of the things I want to bring up about this is that I don't remember the last time the draft green room has been this full. It is remarkable how many players are in there. It's got to be 20 plus players in the green room for tonight, which again is outstanding. I love seeing all of that. These players actually at the draft. It's going to be quite the scene, but we are ready to get going. The Dallas Mavericks are on the clock for the first pick of this year's draft, and we can rightly assume that it will likely be Cooper Flag. Again, one of the best players, if not the best player in college basketball this season, and one of the more highly awaited prospects in recent memory. Now, here's the thing that I'll say about Cooper Flag is, like, I don't know as a prospect if he has the same amount of like tools, unicorny sort of upside as somebody like Wembanyama did a couple of years ago, but just translatable traits, immediately translatable traits. I don't know that I've ever studied a prospect that has a better combination of NBA readiness and all-star upside as Cooper Flagg. I think he is really that good. I think he's going to walk into the NBA on day one and be a star. I love him, Tyler, and I can't imagine that, I can't imagine that you'll be pulling any punches on this. The Cooper Flagg jersey, I'm sure, is already on standby in your cart in the NBA store.
That's hilarious. I asked my brother because he was so emotionally distraught about Luka and still didn't want to ride the wave. But yeah, I was like, "Are you gonna get a Cooper Flagg jersey?" He's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a Cooper Flagg jersey." So everybody's coming back around, man. That's all you needed, just a number one pick.
I mean, it is. Listen, it is a pretty much a foregone conclusion. Tyler, what do you think about this? Now, like, since the Mavericks landed on the number one pick, they now have Anthony Davis. They brought back Kyrie Irving. They're going to be bringing in Cooper Flagg in a couple of minutes. Do you think that the Mavericks, when it's all said and done, and all of the Nico Harrison criticisms aside, are the Mavericks going to be better off with this sort of scenario than they would have been with Luka Doncic? What do you think?
Man, that's tough. I can't say that they will be. I mean, we were three wins away from the finals, and yeah, this is Nico's style. This is Nico's guys. This is Nico's team, but that Mavs team was locked in, bought in, and we were 8-2 to start the year. Yeah, Luka had an injury, but Luka loved playing in Dallas, and everybody loved playing with Luka. So all that noise, it kind of just infiltrated the locker room, was very unfortunate. But I can't say that even with everything that's going on, which is great. We have a great roster. We're going to contend. But I can't say that'd be better than the trajectory that a 25-year-old, five-time All-NBA Slovenian, All-Star was. It's too hard for me to say that.
It's interesting the way that this has kind of all shaken out at this point. The pick is in, by the way, here for the Dallas Mavericks. The moment really awaits, and it is going to be an interesting sort of scenario as, Dallas is kind of entering into a new era now in Maverick basketball. Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, obviously vets within that organization now, and now bringing in somebody like Cooper Flagg. Listen, after like we can assume the pick isn't in yet, but we can sort of assume that Cooper Flagg is going to be the name that will be announced by Commissioner Adam Silver in just a couple of minutes.
Well, he only had one workout, and it was with the Mavs. So,
unless some weird, uncharacteristic thing happens. I mean, listen. What if, Nico Harrison's track record over the past several months has not been.
I was going to say, let's get this pick in.
Yeah, let's not keep the Mavericks fans waiting. This is going to be something else. But 19 points a game last year, 7.5 rebounds. 48% from the field, 38.5 from three. He's just I mean, listen, he's Wooden Award winner. He's a Naismith Award winner. I mean, he's as accomplished as any freshman can be at this point. I mean, I just feel like the Mavericks are getting an absolute all-star from day one as soon as he walks into the NBA. He just looks like he's NBA ready. Again, we are not, the pick is not in yet. I mean, it is, according to us, it is, the pick is in, but it has not been announced. Cooper Flagg will be a Dallas Maverick. It still hasn't kind of worn off, by the way. The shock from the draft lottery, I don't think has worn off. I remember in the Gryd chat, you were just like, you specifically, you were like, what just happened? Like, you were in disbelief that it had actually kind of taken place, that Cooper Flagg was headed your way.
Yeah, we've never had a number one pick, and we've never moved up that many spots. It was crazy. And Adam Silver gets on ESPN and said, "Hey, they were rewarded for not tanking. They tried to win." I'm like, "Oh God." I'm not here to sit start saying it's rigged or nothing, but man, there was something fishy about what's going on.
All right, so the
but
commissioner is coming to the podium to announce the pick for the Dallas Mavericks. Here is Adam Silver. And following the draft chimes, it is official. Cooper Flagg is officially a Dallas Maverick as he walks in with the Maverick blue. Tyler, how are we feeling today? We've talked about it already ad nauseum through the first 11 minutes of the show, but it is official now. Cooper Flagg, you can now exhale. Nico Harrison did not screw this one up. Cooper Flagg is a Dallas Maverick.
Wow, welcome to Dallas, Coop. Hey, you know what? All those things that you said, the people that are closest to him mentioned his number one trait is how much he wants to win, how big of a competitor he is, and not only on one end of the ball, but both ends of the ball. So we fell in love with Luka Doncic, who was an offensive juggernaut, genius, master with the ball. But now we're going to get to love a guy maybe that does both sides of the basketball. So that's a very exciting prospect. We can't wait to see it. We hear he's getting better and taller by the day. I can't wait to see what Jason Kidd is able to do with him. Now, Nico Harrison, get to work.
Yeah, and now it's time for the Dallas Mavericks to get to work here. I think there is no question in my mind that Cooper Flagg is the most complete player in the entire draft. My pro comparison for him was Kawhi Leonard. I think he's that good. He's that good on both sides of the basketball. Great court vision. He looks the part. He doesn't really have a weakness in his game. I said the same thing about Cade Cunningham several years ago, but it rings more true now with Cooper Flagg than it did then. He's just an outstanding player on both sides of the ball. Like I said, I think he's an immediate all-star, good shooter, terrific defender, super high upside, but I also think he has an incredibly high floor. I cannot possibly see in any dream that I could have that Cooper Flagg fails in the NBA. I just think as far as his upside is concerned, athleticism, all of those things, likability, that I think Cooper Flagg is a superstar in the making, and I haven't felt as confident about that in many, many, many years. Cooper Flagg is a superstar in the making, and he's headed to Dallas. So
We also could get three Dukies in the top 10. John Shire ran a hell of a program, and the other is a freshman, Knuffle. We'll talk more about him. And then also this 7-foot center from Duke. So a lot to be excited for. Who you got on this next pick? Because I'm going with Harper.
Yeah, so the San Antonio Spurs are now on the clock. The pick is reportedly in here for the San Antonio Spurs. And it looks like at the moment, all the reports were saying that Dylan Harper is likely the pick here at number 2. It would not surprise me if this was already set in stone. They have apparently been in love with him for a while. So it would not surprise me if that were the case. But again, we'll see. The draft it's it's a wild thing sometimes. So we'll be looking to see what they do. But Cooper Flagg is a Dallas Maverick. The San Antonio Spurs are now on the clock, and we will see what they do with this coming selection here
And
at
Mike,
number 2.
with KD out of the sweepstakes, San Antonio not being in KD's realm, with him going to Houston, I wonder if they still are going to try to get somebody like Giannis, somebody bigger to play with, Wemby, or they're going to continue to build out the draft because they have not only pick 2 but pick 14 as well. So they could go a lot of different directions here.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. I know that There were conversations being had that San Antonio could end up moving the pick. They have number 14 as well. They just traded number 38 tomorrow in the second round to Indiana. That's for a future second rounder and some cash. So they did trade away their second round pick. So they only have these 2 picks here in the draft tonight, which is 2 and 14, both lottery picks. But this one is in. It looks like this one is not going anywhere, at least for the time being. By the way, I hate the way that the NBA does draft trades, because it gets so convoluted and so confusing. Like, when the NFL does draft day trades, it happens immediately. It gets approved immediately. Nothing, like, no confusion, nothing. This pick gets traded to this team, period, right? There's nothing. In the NBA, it's this trade is to be approved later to this team when it's actually going to. It's like, it's a nightmare. I absolutely hate the way that they do it.
I remember talking about that last year too. They need to change it.
They got to figure out a better way to do it. It's just impossible to track. It really is. I mean, like, I can remember the trade where, like, Jalen Duren a couple of years ago got drafted. He got drafted by the Knicks and then got traded to the Hornets and then got traded to the Pistons or something. Like, it was like what is, like, okay, so who does he play for now? Like, who did he get? We know he got drafted, but what team did he get drafted by? So I don't know. It drives me insane. But Cooper Flagg, like I said, the easy number 1 player on my board, he's now off the board. Ace Bailey is my number 2 player. Dylan Harper is my number 3. I would imagine that Dylan Harper is the pick here. Again, that seems to be what every rumor out there has been saying. And if it is Dylan Harper, I think it's a great pick. I really do. He's obviously a very, very solid player. Their backcourt could be a little bit clogged now, and we'll see what kind of move they can make with that. But the pick right now is in. Commissioner Silver is here for the selection for San Antonio. And after the chimes have gone off, it is Dylan Harper heading to the San Antonio Spurs. Damn draft chimes. Dylan Harper is headed to the San Antonio Spurs. Point guard at a Rutgers, 6'6", 215. Real solid player, lefty player, 19.5 points a game last year with 4 assists. Listen, he's just another one of these NBA-ready talents. Great size for a guard, great anticipation on both ends of the floor, masterful finisher at the rim. He is so crafty at getting to the rim and finishing at the basket. High IQ player. He works around the rim really well. This is one of these players where he just seems to play like a 10-year vet. You know, you draft him right away. He's a young kid, but he just seems to have a great head on his shoulders. He's not a bad shooter, but he can be very streaky from the perimeter. He needs to become a little bit more consistent as a shooter on the perimeter. Not an incredibly explosive athlete, but I think he'll be able to create his own shot. San Antonio is getting a real gamer here in Dylan Harper. He reminds me a lot of an old Spur in Manu Ginobili. So we'll see how they can utilize him as well. Tyler, what do you make of Dylan Harper heading to the San Antonio Spurs?
I mean, Mike, you weren't alone having Ace Bailey as your top 2 prospect talent wise, right? I had him number 2. Dylan was able to move up in the draft process because he was likable to the coaches and did everything that Ace Bailey didn't. Go to workouts, work hard, have transparency throughout the process, humble mind, and skill wise, he's right there. I think this is a great pickup. Now, you did mention that they're a little congested with Castle, Fox, Harper. They have a lot of guards, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. But I think you have to draft him here. Once Ace Bailey's shown that he's not ready to be a professional, or at least at this number 2 spot, next best man, Dylan Harper. Love him.
Dylan Harper headed to the San Antonio Spurs. We are now headed over to the great land of Philadelphia. if you want to call it that, I guess, right? If you want to call it the great land of Philadelphia, the 76ers are now on the clock here for the NBA draft. They have pick number 3. they've had several different names tied to them, whether it's Trey Johnson out of Texas. They've had VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. So we'll see what they do with this pick coming up. But Tyler, what are we thinking here for the Sixers? What do you think they should be trying to address here? What's a need that they could potentially have?
So I liked them having Edge come on their mock draft. They need a gritty guard like that. Somebody that's like a good predecessor to Kyle Lowry, who's gonna muck the game up, but also is a very good point guard. Um, Edgecombe fights, and he's been well coached by this Baylor program. And again, we're talking about Ace Bailey still slipping further than this because of earlier I would have had Philly and that second team getting Ace Bailey. But now we're talking about I got Edgecombe here. I think he's the best player on the board, and I think he goes here to the 76ers.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm with you on that. I think that this is likely, in my estimation, I would imagine that VJ Edgecombe is the guy that comes off the board here. I agree with you, Tyler. I think Ace Bailey is the best player on the board right now. Like I said, I think he was the best player on the board as soon as Cooper Flagg came off it. So again, we'll see where they end up going. I think Trey Johnson and VJ Edgecombe are the two favorites here. It would not surprise me if Con Knippel ended up going here as well. The other Duke star, who was ACC tourney MVP. I mean, he was really phenomenal for them this past year. It's amazing to me that Duke was not. I mean, and Duke was a great team this year, but I honestly thought that Duke should have been the overwhelming favorite for the national championship. I really did. Like, they were so, with Malawach and Proctor and Sion James, and like it seemed to never end with the amount of talent. Obviously, with Flagg and Knippel on that team as well, it just seemed to never end with Duke. I'm surprised that they ended up not winning the whole thing. They were just so good.
Knippel surprised me. Knippel is a great. He's obviously could be a top 5 pick, and his ability to shoot the ball, but also play off the ball and play off the dribble as well. He was a freshman last year with Cooper Flagg. Man, it's just going to get better for Knuppel.
So we will see what happens with this pick. Right now, there's been a lot of trade talk, by the way, of teams trying to move up to get to number 3. And Philadelphia has apparently been listening. So we'll see where they go from here. But, so far, listen, I have not received anything from anybody saying that this pick is going to end up getting moved. And it looks like the pick is in, Tyler Redington, for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Right.
They are making this pick. Final prediction. My prediction, I think, would be VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. What do you make of this?
Hey, I have VJ in my mock draft, so we got to go with it.
I feel that as well. VJ Edgecombe is my number 5 overall player in this draft. Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, VJ Edgecombe are the 3 remaining players in that order. Remaining on my top 5, Con Knippel at number 6 on the big board, and Kasparis Giacochonis is the number 7 player, 5th best on my big board right now. The point guard out of Illinois. I think he's going to be one of the better players coming out of this draft. I love him as well. So we'll see where they go. Listen, Tyler, you mentioned it before. This is one of the Sixers are one of the destinations that Ace Bailey said, I don't want to go. He canceled the workout with them. So we can assume that this is probably not Ace Bailey, but I mean, it's interesting because what do you think is going through Ace Bailey's mind during the pre-draft? Actually, you know what? Hold that thought. This pick is in as Commissioner Silver makes his way to the podium. It is VJ Edgecombe. As VJ Edgecombe, here we go. As I type it in here, Bryson is way better at this than I am, but VJ Edgecombe is the pick for the Philadelphia 76ers. He comes off the board and he heads to Philadelphia. Very athletic kid. Reminds me a lot of Victor Oladipo. He's a very interesting player when it comes to this. 6'5", 180 pounds, averaged 15 points a game last year for Baylor. Supreme athlete. This guy can just absolutely jump out of the gym. Really excited to see what he can do in the NBA. Extremely explosive off the dribble. He's an elite defender. That's his big trait, is he is a top-tier defender, one of the better defenders, if not the best defender in this draft. Elite anticipation for passing lanes. He can time blocks. I mean, he averaged over 2 steals a game this year in college. He was absolutely fantastic. He's a work in progress offensively. He is not a top-tier scorer yet. Not a terrible shooter, but he's got a little bit of an awkward form to his jump shot. His ball handling is a little bit messy. But as far as a defense and athletic player, VJ Edgecombe is almost as good as they come in this draft. Very worthy of a top 5 pick. Tyler, what do you make of Philadelphia taking VJ Edgecombe here?
Absolutely. All those things you mentioned go right with Philly's culture. Tough nose, hard nose. Baylor has a very good job of bringing up these type of guards. Mitchell, who plays on the Kings now, he's that type of comp, if you ask me, where he can knock down the 3, but also guard your 1 and be strong enough to get through screens to cover your 2, 3, and maybe even higher. So Philly has, they drafted Jared McClain last year, who's more of a 3-point shooter. Now they go and get somebody that's a hard-nosed defender. We'll see if Philly's able to build up from the draft, because that Embiid is carrying a lot of dead weight on the roster, and I don't know how long that's going to continue to affect them. But in the meantime, this GM's got to make something happen, and I think he sees that.
It's true. It's very true. So VJ Edgecombe coming off the board here at number 3 to the Philadelphia 76ers. He has not been traded as of yet. It looks like right now, at least for now, he is sticking around there in Philadelphia. So again, we'll see what that looks like. I'm trying to pick out a good color here for the Hornets. I would imagine that it might have to look something like, I don't know. Let's tackle this together here, Tyler. So how about something like this? So, that looks okay, right? I had to do the same thing for the NBA draft when Bryson wasn't here also.
That's perfect. Hey, let's rock it.
The Charlotte Hornets right now on the clock. It just seems like every year, Tyler, they're right here. They're right here in the lottery. What do you think the Charlotte Hornets as a team right now, what are they doing wrong as an organization where they just keep ending up right here, it seems to be at the top of the lottery?
Personally, I think they should build around Brandon Miller instead of LaMelo Ball now. LaMelo Ball is a flashy, great player, hypes up the crowd, family name in the NBA, but he's not the type that you want to build around. He doesn't have the professional mentality that's going to take the Hornets to the next level. So I would start by gutting it out, trading LaMelo Ball. Brandon Miller came out and showed that he's worthy. He is that dude. Like, he can play with the best of them, and it's not tomorrow. It's not next week. He's ready now. So I would build around Brandon Miller, and they have picks to do it. So, Charlotte's in a good spot. We'll see if they ever do move on from LaMelo, but that's the route I would definitely go.
Yeah, interesting the way that gets put as well, because again, LaMelo is held in very high regard as well. But it just seems like, I mean, the Hornets don't not have talent. Like, they certainly have talent, but there's just something that they don't do right, that they can't seem to put it all together at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see where they go here. Brandon Miller, obviously one of the centerpieces of their franchise right now. I was a big fan of his when he came out of the draft as well. I had him ranked ahead of Scoot Henderson in his draft class. So I was a big Brandon Miller guy. Obviously, like, I'm a big fan of their center and Mark Williams. I think Mark Williams is a potential special rim running center that they drafted several years ago as well. Again, with LaMelo Ball, I mean, listen, somebody like Trey Johnson, I think fits here really, really well. Pair another scorer. Trey Johnson reminds me a lot of Devin Booker. Like he's just a bucket getter, right?
Now,
Just get another one of those guys that you can throw in there with LaMelo, with Brandon Miller to share the ball with. I think that would be honestly a great Trey Johnson, Con Knippel, I think are the two guys to look out for here with this pick.
so Trey Johnson, he went to high school 5 minutes from down the street here in Dallas. And he went to Woodrow Wilson, and he actually went to Florida his senior year because he started getting big. Went to one of those bigger schools in Florida, got recognition, ended up going to Texas. But he has gotten taller, bigger. But he put on a game against Iowa State this year where he absolutely went off. 39 points, 8 made threes. Trey Johnson is getting better, and he's one of the top five. I would have been fine if you would have drafted him number 3. He's just that good. So I think you cannot go wrong getting Trey Johnson here. Absolutely.
Yeah, certainly. And I went into the whole process being prepared to be underwhelmed by Trey Johnson. I really was. I came into the process of studying all these players, and I really prepared myself for saying, you know, I don't know if Trey Johnson's going to be my cup of tea. Trey Johnson ended up being the number 4 player on my board. Like he really is a special scorer of the basketball. He can just absolutely go get it. As you can see here on the screen, the pick is in here for the Charlotte Hornets. We'll see what they do with this. Like I said, I think Trey Johnson and Con Knippel, I think, are the two guys that you can look at here. It would not surprise me, by the way. And again, I would favor Trey Johnson, but with the season that Con Knippel had at Duke, he was just surreal last year. I mean, just reading off the accolades that he came out with last year. NCAA All-Region. He was All-ACC, All-ACC tourney. He was an ACC All-Freshman. He was ACC tourney MVP. That's the big one that everybody keeps pointing to. I mean, there were games, Tyler, where Con Knippel was the number 1 option for Duke, and it wasn't Cooper Flagg. So, you know, worthy of a top 5 pick. He's my number 6 player, but I would say absolutely worthy of a top 5 pick.
Yeah, and he's not just a shooter. He's a 3-level scorer, and he also could play defense. He was a freshman this year, so he's only going to get better and bigger, just like Cooper Flagg. Cooper and him were best friends. They went on this ride together, and to watch both of them grow and to continue to get better and bigger, and now they're both top 5 picks, top 5, 7, whatever they go. But yeah, I think it's really cool to see what came out of that Duke friendship.
The pick is in, and it is official. As I said before, it would not have been surprising to me if Con Knippel ended up going to the Charlotte Hornets, and that's exactly what we have. Con Knippel, now the next Charlotte Hornet. He'll be playing next to Brandon Miller. He'll be playing next to LaMelo Ball. Con Knippel reminds me a lot of Chris Mullin, 6'7", 215, an absolutely lights out shooter, 14.5 points a game last year at Duke, shot 48% from the field, shot over 40% from 3. Again, ACC tournament MVP. He was fantastic for Duke last year. There were games where Duke relied on him rather than Cooper Flagg to get the job done. Outstanding shooter, hit shots off the dribble. He hit 47%, Tyler, 47% of his spot up threes from this past season. He was absolutely lights out from long range, plays extremely hard. He can absorb contact. Like you said, he's a 3-level scorer. This guy is a bucket getter. The issue that I have with him is that he's just not a great athlete. He's not going to soar above the rim. He's not going to dunk all over people. He's not going to be one of those guys. He may struggle against quicker players, maybe on both sides of the ball, I would say, especially defensively, but he's one of these guys that I think is going to go up and get buckets right away. He's going to be one of these, great spot up shooters, and he might be limited to spot up situations earlier on in his career, but I think eventually you're going to be looking at this guy as a true 3-level scorer that Charlotte can rely upon and get buckets with.
Yeah, and let's give it up to John Shire, who produced two Duke freshmen as top 5 NBA picks in the draft. That is absolutely phenomenal. And we probably have a third going around 8 or 9, with the center from Duke also being a top 2 center on the board.
Yeah,
Uh, but I mean, Charlotte Hornets got themselves a not only a sniper, but they got them a winner too. That guy just loves to win. You talk about his teammates; they say, "Man, he's just is a gritty competitor." Whether it's practice, drills, game, the guy just wants to win. Charlotte got them a sniper, but they also got them a winner, which is something I think they needed.
absolutely. Con Knipple ending up with the Charlotte Hornets. We are now here with the Utah Jazz now on the clock. This was the team, Tyler, that was supposed to end up with the number 1 pick. They now drop to number 5. So let's get the purple here as we see the Utah Jazz are now on the clock. So this was supposed to be Cooper Flag country, right? And that's now Dallas. So now they kind of have to pivot to their plan B. What are we thinking here? I mean, this is another Ace Bailey, like, I don't want it destination, right? So where do they go from here? Is Trey Johnson the name that they go for? Do they maybe go for a point guard, somebody like Kasparis Jakachonis? Do they go for a Jeremiah Fears? Like, where do they end up going here? What do you think?
So I did actually hear that they had Fierce on their board. They did like Fierce, but I don't think you could pass up Trey Johnson and his ability to also score more than one way with the basketball and do so immediately. Trey Johnson is a scorer. The guy knows how to get the ball in the hoop. And this Jazz team, they've been bleak for a long, long time, and they've been trying to build from these drafts, and they have not made much progress, so they need to bring somebody in that's going to put some excitement out there, put some points on the board, and put some butts in the seats. And I think that's Trey Johnson, originally from Dallas, and then went to Texas. So we'll see what they go here, but I think they need to draft Trey Johnson.
So, and listen, in a lot of these mock drafts, that's what you've seen. We've seen a lot of Jeremiah Fears. I think Trey Johnson is absolutely a possibility here as well. It's really interesting because, Utah is one of those teams that just simply needs everything, right? I mean, they maybe don't need a big, right? They've got Markkanen, they've got Walker Kessler. They probably don't need a big, right? But anything in the backcourt, I think they absolutely need. So, I mean, listen, Trey Johnson, as far as guards are concerned, is the best guy on my board. Like I said, Ace Bailey is still up there, but Trey Johnson, Kasparis Jakachonis, Neat Clifford out of Colorado State is a very interesting player. I think at this point, it might be a bit of a reach for him, but it looks like the pick is in for the Utah Jazz as we get ready for the commissioner to come up to the podium for the Utah Jazz selection.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go with the foreign point guard that you were talking about.
It would not surprise me as well. Again, we the pick is in. Adam Silver looks to be on his way to the podium shortly. Again, it'll be interesting to see where Ace Bailey ends up.
They just drafted Keonta George, and I wonder if Trey Johnson's going to play the same position. That would be the only reason they don't draft Trey Johnson here. And they still have Jordan Clarkson, but are they going to move on from him? I mean, he's been on the trading block for 4 to 5 years now.
Yeah, Colin Sexton as well, also.
Yep.
In that spot as well. So they've, they do have a bunch there. So, but that's the thing. That's what kind of leads me to believe, like, maybe they'll look to go point guard. Maybe they'll look to go somebody like Jeremiah Fears. I mean, like, obviously somebody like Walter Clayton, obviously I don't think is going to end up going this high, but Jeremiah Fears, Kasparis Jakachonis, as much as I like him, I don't know that he's the guy. I would imagine that this pick is probably between Trey Johnson and Jeremiah Fears. I think it's going to be between those two guys. So we are just about ready. It looks like the commissioner is heading up to the podium now. I was a little premature on the chimes. We'll get into a groove here, but we'll see where we have the Utah Jazz going with the number 5 pick in this year's draft. Oh, wow. Here it is. Here it is. It is Ace Bailey heading to the Utah Jazz. Would you look at that? That is incredible. I did not anticipate that even a little bit. I honestly did not expect that. Ace Bailey ends up going to the Utah Jazz here at number 5. Now, this is interesting because, again, I was under the impression that Ace Bailey did not want to go here. I was under the impression that Ace Bailey did not want to go to Utah, but he comes off the board here. He was my number 2 player overall in this draft. I think he's such a special talent, outrageously talented and outrageously athletic. He can jump through the building. Gifted athlete, incredible shot creating ability. I think as a natural shot creator, he might be the best in the draft. Great on the break, extremely explosive. He plays above the rim. He can rebound. He blocks shots with a little bit more effort, and that's been one of the criticisms of him. He can be a really solid defender as well. He reminds me a lot of Paul George. He's one of these two-way big players, 6'9", 205. Ace Bailey, just an incredibly top-tier athlete and prospect. If they can coach him and they can get him right, I think Ace Bailey's a future star in the making. I think he's really that special.
Absolutely, and I'm just as shocked as you. Like, how did he cross all their boxes and dot all their I's? Danny Ainge ran an organization. Danny must have had sat down and talked with this young man, and they got some things square because, yeah, Utah is a very, rigid program as it is ran by Danny Ainge. He doesn't like a bunch of shenanigans or drama. So they must have saw something in this that the other guys didn't, and he might be taking a huge risk, which they have to. They've been terrible for so long that
Right.
at some point you got to take a risk. So we'll see. I mean, the risk is, hey, this is one of the most talented guys in the draft. So I think they like what they're looking at when they're taking that risk. So we'll see if it pans out for them. I'm not going to sit here and say the dude isn't capable. We've seen what he's capable of, and that's do some serious damage on the court.
He certainly can, and it's going to be interesting. He's got a pretty fresh suit on as well. I got to give it to the kid. But all right, so the top 5 are in the books. So Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe, Con Knipple, and Ace Bailey are the first 5 picks of this draft. And now we head over to DC. We head over to the Washington Wizards, who are now on the clock. Let's see what they do here as well. This is going to be an interesting little scenario here for the Wizards as they are now on the clock. The pick is not in yet, but Washington is on the clock. Do I have 2 eyes there? No, I don't. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going blind. But the Washington Wizards are here. Listen, they were a spot that I could have seen Ace Bailey land, but this actually might work out a little bit better for them because they need guard help. They need plenty of guard help. So do we see Trey Johnson heading in this direction? We will see about that. So again, Tyler, what do we make of the top 5 of this year's draft so far? Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe, Con Knipple, and Ace Bailey. Your top 5 for the 2025 draft.
I love how the middle of the year last year, Con Knipple wasn't even looked at as a top 5 prospect. The work he put in, the things he did in the ACC tournament and in the draft. I mean, in the draft process, he climbed his way to the top 5. I think that's remarkable. I can't wait to watch him play again. 2 Blue Devils in the top 5. We're looking at maybe 3 in the top 10. Stealing the show so far.
Yeah. It's been absolutely fantastic seeing what Con Knipple did at Duke. Cooper Flagg, obviously the big prize of this draft. Tyler, is it still it's still giving you butterflies at this point? You still got goosebumps of excitement that Cooper Flagg is headed your way?
Yeah, I have like PTSD. Like at my 12:30 at night, if I get a notification on my phone, I'm gonna freak out because the whole city of Dallas woke up to some crazy trade and honestly, it was only this. It was only this that could have brought us back to some sort of life, and so just to have life again is fun because we were all done. You know, a lot
Hmm.
of us, Nico, an apology, but he's not necessarily off the hook yet. But the fact that we can be happy about competitive basketball in Dallas, hey, that's all we care about.
Yeah. So the Wizards, who are now on the clock, they have 2 first-round picks with the number 6 pick, which is on the clock now, and they also have number 18 in this first round as well. They also have a second-round pick. We'll see where they go with that. But right now, Washington is in an interesting scenario. Tyler, what are we thinking about with Washington here at number 6?
So, I've actually paid attention to their owner recently. He's been on a couple interviews, and he wanted to make it clear that there's a difference between developing players and tanking, and that he wanted to make it clear that that his players, that he's trying to develop his players, and that they are not tanking. And I appreciate that about a rich owner who could care less, but who cares about the integrity of the game. So, the Washington has had a terrible luck at things. I didn't think Alex Sarr was very good, especially as your top pick. And they've just had a lot of duds. So it's time Washington gets it right. I do think they have the ownership. We'll see if this GM is able to come in. I think you got to go with the offense though, and get Trey Johnson here. Absolutely, get somebody that could put the ball in the bucket and put some butts in the seats, because you got this center now. You got a guard with Kalubi. So now you're starting to iron out that roster, bring in a good shooting guard like Trey Johnson, and you might be making some moves. But
Yeah.
they still got a long way to go.
Alex Sarr, by the way, Alex Sarr was my number 1 overall player last year. So I'm interested to hear that you weren't a big fan of his, but Alex Sarr,
It
I
was,
thought Alex Sarr had a ton of upside last year as well in a
well,
not so good draft.
going into the draft, yes, I knew, like, watched the first quarter of the season. I'm like, he's not doing what he need to be doing as a top pick. But I think a lot of people loved his upside. But it's hard to say. It's hard to also live up to all your capability as a pick in any draft in any sport. So I
Yep.
respect that too.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll see. This is what the beauty of the draft is you just don't have any idea where any of these kids are going to end up, and what their careers are going to end up looking like. Um, so far, by the way, I've been kind of trying to spoil myself for production purposes. So I've been kind of leaning on Shams here to kind of spoil myself with picks, and it's just not happening. So as we queue up the draft chimes, Adam Silver is at the podium. The Washington Wizards about to make their pick. And it is, in fact, Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson ending up heading to the Washington Wizards. An absolute bucket getter. Trey Johnson out of Texas heads over to the Wizards. The number 4 overall player on my board, 6'6", 190 pounds, averaged about 20 points a game last year at Texas. He was an absolute bucket getter. Like I said, reminds me a lot of Devin Booker, takes a lot of jumpers, an elite offensive player. He has the makings. I think he's most qualified in this draft to have the makings of a true volume scorer at the next level. He can create his own shot with the best in the draft. He's got a nice, smooth jumper, good head on his shoulders. Pull-up jumpers are his game. This guy is not afraid to pull up shots from deep, taking shots off the dribble. He's not a great defender. He's not very laterally quick when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. He doesn't really create turnovers, but as an offensive juggernaut, this kid can absolutely play. So excited to see what he can do in Washington, maybe turn that franchise around a little bit. Tyler, what do we make of this pick, Trey Johnson heading to the Wizards?
Well, as I mentioned, he's from Woodrow Wilson High School, right down the street here. We love him, man. He's an absolute stud. He was only a freshman in Texas, so he only had 1 year, so he's a one and done type guy. And this is a guy that just keeps growing. From the time he was at Woodrow, he went to play on a bigger school, started getting more notoriety in Florida. And then he was asked to come on in Texas, and he's just been getting bigger and better ever since every move that he makes. So his ability to shoot the three is next to none. He had 8 in a game one time against Iowa State this year when he had like 39 points, almost led a huge comeback. And he's just a go-getter. Some people say about him is just that he hates to lose. That the best attribute about him is that he just absolutely hates to lose. And you can see that when he plays, his fiery compassion, his competition level. You just love to see it out of somebody that's from your own city. But I think he's going to do great. Washington's got somebody now that could score the ball. Let's see what else they got. Now they're starting to round out the roster. Let's see what they could do.
So we'll see what they do with that as well. LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Durant, Tristan Thompson, and LaSalle Thompson, the only players in Texas history to be drafted higher in the NBA draft from Texas than Trey Johnson. So well done by him. The New Orleans Pelicans are now on the clock. Let me see if I can find like a goldish sort of deal here. This will work. This is good. See, I'm getting the hang of this now, Tyler. The New Orleans Pelicans,
You
right
got
there,
this.
are on the clock here with the number 7 overall pick. So Tyler, this is interesting territory now, because this is where like all of the top tier players are now off the board, right? I think we kind of viewed this draft as, okay, the top 6 players I think most people had in common: Flagg, Bailey, Harper, Johnson, Edgecombe, Knipple. I think those were the top guys that most people had. Now it gets a little interesting, because now I kind of feel like, not that the draft starts, but it's almost like anybody can go now. Anybody from like the 7th best player to like the 25th best player in the draft can all start going about now. Kasparis Jakachonis is the best player on my board right now out of Illinois. Carter Bryant out of Arizona, I'm a big fan of as well. He could go there as well. Kaman Malawach, the center out of Duke, is somebody to look at as well. So just based on what the Pelicans need here at number 7, what do you think is a direction they could go in? What do you think, as far as team needs are concerned, what are the Pelicans looking to address here?
Yeah, after they moved on from Valanciunas, I think more so center. They got some point guards. Now they did just trade C.J. McCollum, so it's interesting here. If they go big, they go with the guy from Duke, or even Queens from Maryland, also the second best big in the draft, or they could go small with Fears. So it depends on whether they want to go small or big. I would go with the center, and I would go with the guy from Duke. But who knows what David Griffin's got up his sleeve.
Yeah, we'll see what they do after trading Brandon Ingram, by the way, as well. He ends up going to Toronto. So it's we'll see what New Orleans does here. Kasparis Jakachonis, Carter Bryant, Kaman Malawach, Neek Clifford, and Jeremiah Fears right now are the top players on my board at this point. 7 through 11. The top 6 players on my board all went in the top 6. So it looks like we do have the pick. The pick is in here for the New Orleans Pelicans. There have not been any trades. The Pelicans right now with 2 first-round picks. They have 7 and they have 23. There have not been any trades yet live in the draft. So we'll see if that changes. But right now, it looks like this pick is headed towards New Orleans. This is where I miss Bryson the most. It really is. It's where I miss him the most, because he handled all this trade stuff, and I'm just not good at keeping track of everything. You know
Hey,
what I mean?
you can't do it all, big man, and he's that shit's not easy.
Well, yeah, seriously. I have to provide the insight and manage the background. This is uncharted
Yeah,
territory. I don't like it. It feels like day 2 of the NFL draft all over again.
that was a crazy draft, by the way, the NFL draft.
It was. It was. Boy, oh boy. But we are just about ready here
Yeah,
for.
I think they go center here, but they could. I don't know. When you have that good talent like Fears on the board, I feel like you got to go with the talent, but we'll see.
Well, Kaman Malawach right now is the number 9 player on my board. He's the best center available in my mind. So we'll see where they go with that. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They have 2 first-round picks. It looks like the commissioner is about to come up to the podium as we cue up the draft chimes here for the New Orleans Pelicans at number 7. And the New Orleans Pelicans select, it is Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma, the point guard. He ends up in New Orleans with the Pelicans. Jeremiah Fears is the guy here for the Pelicans. Tyler, what do we make of Jeremiah Fears heading to New Orleans?
As I said, when you have that much talent on the board, you got to get it. And he's proven that he could absolutely score the ball. He's one of the best scorers in the draft. His size is one of the only reasons he fell down to 7. Otherwise, he was going to be a top 5 pick. So I think New Orleans is very excited about bringing somebody that could score the ball in, and kind of reinvigorate that culture with Zion Williamson. Great pick here at 7 for David Griffin and the Pelicans.
Yeah, very interesting. 17 points a game last year at Oklahoma, 6'4", 180 pounds here for this point guard. Actually solid size for a point guard, depending on if you view him as a lead guard, right? He's lightning fast. That's the thing that's his selling quality, is this guy is so quick with the ball in his hands. He's one of the best at drawing contact. He is unbelievable at the free throw line, and he's great at drawing contact. Jeremiah Fears was the number 11 player on my board. Really solid playmaker. He's got good form on his jump shot, even though the numbers didn't really translate to that. He only shot about 28% from 3 last year, but he's got good form on his jumper. It's not a broken shot. I think he'll get there. Good upside. He had an outrageously high usage rate. He had the highest usage rate of any college freshman last year in college basketball, and that's a lot to ask from these kids coming straight out of high school. Reminds me a lot of Devin Harris, younger Devin Harris, where the speed was killer. So the New Orleans Pelicans adding a point guard here. They go Jeremiah Fears to add to their backcourt. So something here for the New Orleans Pelicans, adding him to a core, again, still with Zion Williamson. We'll see what their future holds in that respect as well.
Yeah, and I think that roster still has a lot of work to do. We have no idea what it's going to look like on day one. They just traded, McCollum. You said Ingram, so they might be doing a semi rebuild, but around Zion. I don't think they want to trade Zion. That's even been in speculation in the past. That they've ridden with Zion this whole time, but man, he's going to have to contribute after some time. He's going to have to bring it to the table because he hasn't brought enough to the table at all.
Yeah, that's certainly true. That's certainly true. Zion Williamson was at that point in 2019. He was the highest graded player I had ever evaluated. And that was only broken after Wembanyama. So he's still one of the better players that I've evaluated. And, needless to say, it's been a little bit disappointing in that respect for him. And he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. So we'll see if that changes going forward. The Brooklyn Nets now on the clock here with the number 8 pick in the draft. Jeremiah Fears off the board. I mean, if you ask me, Tyler, this is not really a center-needy team. Guys like Nick Claxton, guys like Day'Ron Sharpe, they're still there. I think they're pretty solid at those positions. What are we thinking about as far as Brooklyn? What could they be looking to address here?
Yeah, it's funny because the centers are like now the best players on the board. But they still have a lot of work to do with their roster too. Who's going to run the point guard? Are they going to trade D'Lo? So a lot to go here. They might want some point guard help, so I could see them going guard here. But if they do go big because they have plans to move Claxton, look at Queens from Maryland. He's not the top big guy, but he's the second top big guy. He's very, very good. I think he could fit into this Brooklyn team and make a difference pretty early.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I found interesting about this draft as well, is the amount of quality bigs that you have in this draft. Kaman Malawach out of Duke, obviously. Derek Queen from Maryland. Danny Wolf, Michigan, right? Like Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown. Like there are so many guys to choose from as far as big time bigs. Now, again, I think that there are there's obviously a difference in those guys. One of my favorites, who I think we're going to hear his name a little bit later, is Maxim Reynaud out of Stanford. He has been really an interesting player to watch in this year's draft process. So again, we'll see where the Nets go. I don't think it'll be a center, but could we see somebody like Carter Bryant go here? Somebody like Neat Clifford.
Carter Bryant's an interesting choice. He might fit the mold for somebody the Brooklyn Nets might need.
Yeah, it's interesting. The pick is in here for the Brooklyn Nets. I'll see if I can spoil myself. It's probably not, because Shams has been fairly quiet. He hasn't tweeted since Ace Bailey got picked. So I'm trying like hell to try and get myself to be ahead of the game here from a production standpoint, but I just I can't do it. Nobody's spoiling anything. It's annoying me. It used to annoy me the other way around. It used to annoy me that Woj used to spoil every pick like 5 minutes before it actually happened. And now I'm annoyed that it's not happening, because now I have to be on top of stuff.
Yeah, ain't that funny?
Ay. But what can we agree on here, Tyler? It's all Bryson's fault.
Bryson could at least stepped up and done the production part.
Yeah. Yeah.
He told me he was out, so I'm like, okay, well, we got the analyst part.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He dropped that bomb on me on Monday. I was like, thanks a lot, dude. Appreciate it.
We'll call him up wherever he's at. He might be busy, but say, hey, we need you to finish off this presentation.
I bet you he's on the couch. Seriously, I bet you he's on the couch
watching us.
Yeah, right. Laughing, all that. I'm sure that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
But
come on, Bryson.
Brooklyn Nets on the clock here. Kasparis Jakachonis still best on the board for me. Carter Bryant, Kaman Malawach, Neat Clifford, and now Walter Clayton Jr. ends up in the top 5 available for me. The national champion. It looks like Adam Silver's headed to the podium as we cue up the draft chimes for the Nets selection here at number 8.
All right.
Oh, wow. This is an interesting pick here. So the Brooklyn Nets select Agor Demon out of BYU. This is an interesting
wow.
pick. This is a very, very interesting pick. Not going to call it a bad one, but it is certainly interesting. It's not one that I expected. Agor Demon out of BYU, 6'9", 200 pounds. He might be.
He's a guard.
He's a guard. He's a 6'9" guard, lead guard. He might be the best pure passer in this entire draft. 10.5 points a game, 5.5 assists. There are just certain qualities in point guards that you see in some guys where you're just like, how do they make that pass? He is one of those telegraphing passers that is just unbelievable. He just, everything, no look, everything. He's just purely special in that department. Court vision and feel for the game are absolutely insane. Great size for a lead guard. Really knows how to make an offense run. Outstanding pick and roll guard. The issue with him is that he's a fairly inconsistent scorer at this point. He doesn't have a super clean jump shot right now. He won't ever really be a volume scorer. He isn't a terrific athlete, and he doesn't really project as a plus defender, but as a facilitator in an offense, he's almost as good as you can get. Reminds me a lot of what Josh Giddey was when he came out of the draft as well. So Agor Demon here for the Brooklyn Nets out of BYU. They're taking a chance here on a really tall point guard. So what do we make of this, Tyler? Agor Demon here to the Brooklyn Nets.
I did some study on him, and he's definitely capable of being a top 10 pick and being an immediate floor general for any team. It's the size, like you said, that presents so many troubles. When you're that tall and you're able to bring the ball up, you're able to pass, you're able to shoot, you present a problem for the defense that not a lot of people do. So he was actually one of the sleeper picks because I know out of BYU he didn't get a lot of publicity, not a big run in the tournament, not a lot of people heard about him. But over the draft, he's gained some leverage and got himself into the top 10. And good job, man. He definitely is deserving. I think people will like him, his ability to pass. He's kind of like a flashy guy, where he's a white guy, but he's a flashy guy. So he's very fun to watch, and I think he's going to make a quick impact on the team.
Yeah, Agor Demon, he was the third best point guard on the board for me. He was my number 16 overall player. But again, he's one of those guys where he's has a very specific specialty. He is, like you said, he is a floor general. He knows how to run an offense. That was his specialty at BYU. We head over now to the Toronto Raptors as they get set for their next pick here at number 9. The Toronto Raptors now on the clock here. Interesting directions that they could go in here at number 9. Tyler, what are we thinking here for the Raptors at number 9?
I think this is when you get the center out of Duke, the 7-foot center. I mean, was absolutely amazing last year. He presents some problems at that size, and he's only going to get better. His skills are raw, but he's proven that he's already good enough to be a top 10 pick. I don't think you could pass on, and I can't pronounce it as well as you can, but we know who we're talking about.
The Duke center, Kaman Malawach. He's
Yes,
he is a spitting image of Clint Capella. Just
yes, yes.
7'2", long wingspan. He's got a 9'8" standing reach. Like, he is just
Absolutely
so big,
amazing.
so long. I think he's the best rim protector in the draft. He's such a special interior defender. So it would not surprise me as well.
Yeah,
They
I
really
just don't.
got something. They really got something out of R.J. Barrett last year as well, averaging over 21 a game last year to R.J. Barrett, and then bringing Brandon Ingram into the fold. Could the Raptors kind of be onto something here? Do you think that they have a little bit more to go?
They got a little bit more to go, but Measry is doing everything he could do. Now you bring a center in like that, that's going to be immediate impact. That's why I love drafting centers like Derek Lively last year. Just immediate impact if you're able to catch lobs and play defense. So I would definitely bring in that 7-foot center and start him. And yeah, then you're talking about Toronto actually on the map to making some noise, and they haven't been in it a long time. So it's interesting to see what Salah Metri is going to do here. Not Salah, he was on he was on the Mavs.
Masai Ujiri.
Yeah, yeah, but a great GM, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Great GM out of Toronto. So we'll see what he's able to do. But I think you got to go with that center here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that would be a solid selection. Kaman Malawach, I think, is the best center in the draft. So if that's the direction they want to go, and I think he's definitely the guy to do that. And listen, he's a prototypical, like, rim running, like, super athletic center, and he was super productive last year for Duke. So it would not surprise me even in the slightest if he ended up being their guy in this draft here. Like I said, spitting image of Clint Capella. Not a super scorer, but he was super efficient. By the way, the pick is in now here for the Toronto Raptors at number 9. It feels like we're kind of flying. I mean, it's been an hour, but it does kind of feel like we've been moving.
It's starting to pick up after that first one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not always, I mean, everybody in the world knew that you could have announced the Cooper Flag pick 2 months ago, but but we are through the first 8 picks. And we've already had 3 point guards, which is incredible to me. Dylan Harper, Jeremiah Fears, and Agor Demon have already gone off the board here. The Raptors now in this position here at number 9. Again, Kasparis Jakachonis, best player on the board for me. Carter Bryant, Kaman Malawach. Those are players to watch here. If they go for a center, it'll be interesting to see as well if they take somebody like Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina. So we'll see about that as well. But the pick is in here for the Raptors at number 9 as we prepare for the number 9 pick. Still waiting here for the Raptors. 2 picks in the draft. They have 1 pick tonight. That's number 9. And then the pick tomorrow night at 39. And it looks like Adam Silver is making his way to the podium now for the Raptors selection.
Got to go with the guy from Duke.
And wow. So you know what? I deserve like powers, like psychic powers. They go with Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina, power forward.
Wow.
I have said for a while that Colin Murray Boyles is the Draymond Green of this draft. Think about him like this. He is a more athletic Draymond Green. He is a defensive menace. This guy can really play on the defensive side of the ball. Very switchable defender who can block shots and create turnovers. Extremely efficient in the paint as a scorer. Really athletic. He can really throw down dunks. Great passer for his position. The issue with him that some people see, he's 6'7", 231, and he plays a little bit more like a big. He's kind of a tweener forward. You know, he's not really a big, but he plays like a big. He doesn't have much of a jumper at the moment. I don't know that he's hopeless in that department, but it's going to take him a little bit to develop a jumper. His style of play, I think, is a bit outdated for the modern NBA, but we'll see where he goes here. He's immediately, I think, going to translate as a defensive stopper. Very switchable defender, very useful in screen and roll situations. Colin Murray Boyles heading to the Toronto Raptors with the number 9 overall pick. Tyler, what do we make of this selection?
Wow, good call. I definitely didn't have him that high. That's good research that you did. Now, he's definitely one of those guys that you love to see kind of fall to you, even though he's not high on the board. Man, he's able to do some things for that lineup that presents some troubles now with Barrett and what they're trying to do. So, hey, great job on the call. We'll see if he pans out. We still got the Duke center left on the board.
So Colin Murray Boyles ends up going to the Toronto Raptors. He was my number 18 overall player. Draymond Green was the comparison. So now we move into a different direction here because we have the Phoenix Suns. This is a pick belonging to the Phoenix Suns. Even though, listen, it is going to show on most screens that this is a pick going to the Rockets. But I'm sure you've heard, this is the pick being traded in the Kevin Durant trade. So this is the Phoenix Suns pick here at number 10. So we'll see where they go in this direction as well. Listen, the trade, obviously, Kevin Durant for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, this pick, and 5 second-round picks heading to the Phoenix Suns with the Rockets obtaining here Kevin Durant. So this pick here is headed to the Phoenix Suns. So we'll see what they do here. But Colin Murray Boyles off the board here. So as of right now, my top 5 from 2 picks ago still remains the same. Agor Demon and Colin Murray Boyles, the last 2 picks. This is now the pick here for the Phoenix Suns. So it'll be interesting to see where they go here. And we conclude the top 10. So just want to give a shout out here to Barry Grant Jr. Salute to the best draft analyst in the game. Compare Mike Guido's international expertise with anybody if we talking about here. Gryd, baby. I appreciate that. That's funny from the co-founder of the Gryd. My international expertise. I hate flying, by the way, but I do pay attention a lot to the international guys. I don't want to call myself the Fran Fraschilla of anybody, but I can be the Fran Fraschilla of this network. I'll tell you that. Oh, it's fun. The amount of support that I get from these guys, except for Bryson tonight, it has really been something else. So I appreciate all of my Gryd members. And if you haven't, yet, make sure you tune in to the Gryd and all of our programming. We just debuted an absolutely phenomenal show with Jeff Parles and John Jansen today called PB&J. Make sure you check that out. That's going to be next week at on Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you tune in for that. A brand new show with a bit of a gambling twist. So make sure you tune in for that as well. Two phenomenal talents, phenomenal guys, and a great show that they've put together. Make sure you tune in for that. Catch that. And all of our programming, Carving It Up with Bryson Carver, the Bi-Coastal Baseball Podcast. That's my show with Dalton Brown. Cowboys Can Fan, Boys in the Zone with EJ Savage, Tim Barnard and the Boston Sports Summit. It has been absolutely fantastic watching all of these guys develop. So make sure you tune in for that and give them the respect that they deserve. The pick is in here for the Phoenix Suns. Again, if you're watching the draft and you're seeing it, they're going to say Houston Rockets. You can see it on their draft board that they say the Houston Rockets pick is in. This is, again, what I was alluding to earlier, where I absolutely hate the way that the NBA does draft day trades. It's like, just approve it immediately. Get it? Like, approve the trade before it happens. You know, the way the NFL does trades, this pick has been traded to this team. Done. No confusion. So now we're going to have to get all this reporting later on. I think it's very, very stupid. But the Phoenix Suns, this is a pick heading to the Phoenix Suns rather than the Houston Rockets. So the Suns here at the number 10 pick, plenty of options still left on the board. They have plenty of needs that they can address. Listen, this is a team that I think is looking to entirely retool. We'll see what they do with their their overflowing stash of shooting guards, right? Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Bradley Beal. We'll see what they end up doing with those guys. But this is a team that needs, I think, a couple of different things. Carter Bryant, I think, would be a great fit here. One of these 3-and-D forwards, I think, would really be a good fit here. They haven't had a real solid point guard in a while as well. Kasparis Giacochonis, I think, is somebody that, I mean, listen, he's my number 7 overall player. He's this year's Tyrese Halliburton. Like, I really think he's that good of a player. So would not surprise me if they went in that direction as well. But as we get ready, the chimes are here, and Adam Silver is heading to the podium here for the Phoenix Suns, number 10 overall selection. So this pick for the Phoenix Suns, number 10, it is Kaman Malawach, the center out of Duke. He ends up going here to the Phoenix Suns. Interesting selection. I did not expect him to go center, but definitely not a bad pick. 7'2", 250 pounds, 8.5 points a game last year, 6.5 rebounds. Listen, this was a very loaded Duke roster, so the numbers might not jump off the page, but from a skill standpoint, Kaman Malawach, he's one of the better kids in the draft. He's an absolutely unbelievably professional kid, really unselfish, massive body with crazy length. Absolutely incredible. Great screen and roll center. Fits very well in the modern NBA. He's not hopeless, by the way, as a perimeter shooter. He didn't shoot all that well from 3 last year, but you take a look at his jump shot. It is not a broken jump shot. It would not surprise me if this became sort of a Miles Turner level center. Great shot blocker, a well above average athlete, great touch around the rim. He shot 71% from the field last year, and that went down through to his 3-point percentage. He's making almost 3 out of his 4 shots that are going around the rim, dunking on everybody. He's not a polished perimeter scorer, and he doesn't have a great feel for passing or facilitating, but as a screen and roll modern NBA big, Kaman Malawach is as safe as they get. Big body, big time defensive center. Again, it looks like he's putting on a Rockets hat. Again, I hate that part. And the screen says Rockets, but he is supposedly heading to the Phoenix Suns. So a great pick. Tyler, you're back. Kaman Malawach, the Duke center, heads to the Phoenix Suns. What do we make of this pick?
Well, that capped off the 3 Duke Blue Devils in the top 10, and that's just a feat. I know I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but that's an amazing feature to have three guys on your college roster that are top 10 NBA picks. So big credit to Shire, what he's doing. Yeah, I didn't expect him to go center here either, but why not? He's the best center on the board. His reach, as you mentioned, is incredible. His ability to finish any sort of lob opens up the floor for some of those floor spacers like uh, and so that's going to be a very good pick for them. Even though we didn't expect them to go center, I think it'll pan out for them because they got a damn good center.
Really, really good center. Really good center. Again, as a shot blocker, as a finisher, a screen and roll player, he just makes so much sense in the modern NBA. And I love him as a kid. I really think that he's one of the better kids in the draft. Really polite, good kid in Kaman Malawach. So you got to feel really good about this. From South Sudan, had to walk 45 minutes to the nearest basketball court near his house in Africa. It was like unbelievable the kind of determination this kid has. So come on, Malawach, end up going to the Phoenix Suns at number 10.
He's gonna have that mentality that's needed for the NBA. He's already got it because he's been tested.
Absolutely been tested. The Portland Trailblazers are now on the clock here at number 11. Listen, they made a trade. Obviously, they got Drew Holiday. I would imagine that he doesn't stay there. But Tyler, what do we make here? The top 10 is done. What are we thinking here for the Portland Trailblazers at number 11?
That's a damn good question, Mike, because this team was fringe play-in team by the end of last year. They started making some headways under Chauncey Billups. You can kind of see the style of play that they like under Chauncey Billups. So you kind of like that 3-and-D guy that you mentioned, gritty, could play multiple positions.
Right.
I would go there. Somebody that could obviously play defense and not just offense, because
Yep.
that's what Portland is kind of embodying in their new culture. They're trying to have that new identity.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see where they go as well. They just traded away Anthony Simons. Scoot Henderson is, now that the pressure's on Scoot Henderson to kind of start producing at that position as well. So I can't imagine that they go point guard. So somebody like Kasparis, Jakachonis, Walter Clayton, these guys, I don't know that they're going to be options here, but some of these 3-and-D guys, right? Neat Clifford, Carter Bryant, somebody like Cedric Coward, I think is somebody that you could look at as well. There's plenty of guys here. I feel like center isn't really the option, right? Because they brought in Donovan Clingan last year, so I don't know that that's the option as well. So, do they go upside, right? Noah Senge is somebody that got talked about a lot as a potential top 10 pick. The French forward, we'll see if where he ends up, but they can go in a lot of different directions. So, plenty to go here. So through the top 10, Tyler, what's the big, I don't want to say surprise, but what was the thing that jumped out at you the most through the first 10 picks of this draft?
It's got to be the Bailey thing, because we all were expecting him to go start going 8, 9, so nobody had him on the radar. All of a sudden he goes 5. So with his talent level, if he's able to mature enough, did they go ahead and get a huge steal at number 5? Because that might be end up what happening if he's able to humble himself, start doing the workouts needed, having the leadership, the mentorship needed, because we both mentioned he was number 2 on our board. So I think that's the big asterisk right there right now in round 1.
So we do have a trade, by the way. We do
Okay.
have a trade. It does not involve this pick, but we do have a trade. Reportedly, this is according to Shams, the Suns are acquiring. The Hornets are sending Mark Williams, who we just talked about before. The Hornets are sending Mark Williams to the Suns for the number 29 pick in this draft and a 2029 first round pick. Also, now that we see it just now, this pick now is headed to the Memphis Grizzlies. So the Memphis Grizzlies are now on the clock, and their pick is in, by the way. So the Memphis Grizzlies are making their selection here at number 11.
They must have liked somebody.
They must have liked somebody. The pick is in here, number 11, and it is Cedric Coward out of Washington State, heading to the Memphis Grizzlies. So a lot of action that just happened right there. But a 3-and-D wing in Cedric Coward, all Big Sky, a junior transfer from Eastern Washington to Washington State. 17 and a half points a game last year, a 40% three-point shooter. After 6 games at Washington State this year, suffered a season-ending shoulder injury, so only played 6 games at Washington State this past year. He has the makings of a real solid scorer at the next level, very efficient before the injury. He's a really good rebounder for his size, 6'6", 190, averaged 7 rebounds a game at Washington State, and he's a guard. He's a guard. He gives you some positional versatility, especially on the defensive side. Great shot blocker, averaged almost 2 blocks a game as a guard here. So really interesting player. He's got a bit of a loose handle. He's not a lead guard. He's got to play off the ball, and he doesn't do much as a shot creator, but as a 3-and-D player with a unique skill set, reminds me a lot of Aaron Nesmith and what he's been able to do with the Indiana Pacers. So Cedric Coward now going to the Memphis Grizzlies. It says here for the Portland Trailblazers, but this pick is now headed to the Memphis Grizzlies. Cedric Coward. What do we make of this pick, Tyler?
Interesting. They must have saw something that they liked in him. Now, they're completely rebuilding their program. After Desmond Bain, it's interesting to see what they're even going to do with John Morant and Jackson Jr. So any move, we don't know if it's to help them position themselves for a future move or whether this is going to be their roster. So we kind of just got to take it with a grain of salt until we see what the GM of Memphis really has going on with this roster.
So that pick is in the Memphis Grizzlies selecting Cedric Coward out of Washington State. This pick now at number 12 belongs to the Chicago Bulls. So we will see what they do with this pick as well. The Chicago Bulls now on the clock here at number 12.
So what did you think about the Mark Williams finally getting traded? So not to the Lakers, but now to the Suns?
Yeah, not to the Lakers, but to the Suns. So that's interesting, right? So I don't understand why NBA teams do this. The Suns just drafted Kaman Malawach, and now they grab Mark Williams. So what does that mean? So does that mean, because who's their center now? Nurkic?
Yeah, they don't have a center that they really like.
I guess they're just bringing in 2 that, so now they have Mark Williams and they have Kaman Malawach, who are very similar, by the way. So, okay, listen, if that's their prerogative, go ahead, do it. I'm a huge Mark Williams fan. I loved Mark Williams out of the draft. Loved him. So, I don't know. Interesting move.
Very athletic, huge upside. I like watching him play too.
Yeah. He would have been such a good fit with the Lakers. Oh my goodness. He would have been such a good fit. Because that's the reason the Lakers lost that series to Minnesota, is because they had nobody to compete with Rudy Gobert. That was it. That was what went wrong.
Absolutely no size in the paint. Nothing. Not a rim protector. Nothing offensively. Yeah, it was terrible.
Unbelievable. The pick here is in for the Chicago Bulls. Let me see if I can find the trade. Okay. So I want to see if I can find the trade that got Coward to. Okay, so the Grizzlies sent the number 16 pick in a 2028. So number 16, 2 second rounders, and a 2028 first round pick for Cedric Coward at number 11. So Memphis traded up. So Portland, I guess, moves down to number 16. So
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Good job. Thank you.
So, like the the NBA Central, not the NBA Central, the NBA Central Twitter
Yeah.
page.
Yep.
They just tweeted that Ace Bailey has informed his agent of his decision to retire from the NBA.
Oh my gosh.
The Jazz draft. I love that page, dude.
I follow it. I love it.
It's such a troll page, man. It's so funny.
It's a top troll page for sure.
Definitely a top troll page. I can definitely get with that. So Cedric Coward, he was the number 14 player on my board. Again, he reminded me a lot of Aaron Nesmith. So interesting that they went with him. This is the Chicago Bulls here at number 12. What do you think here, Tyler? The Chicago Bulls, their pick is in. What do you think the Bulls could go with here?
The guy that you like, the 3-and-D guy, what's his name again?
Carter Bryant.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name, but he's definitely like the most intriguing guy on the clock right now for me. Unless you're going to go back to center, you've still got that Queen guy from Maryland who was projected top 15. So, it's also what route are the Bulls going to go? Are they going to keep Patrick Williams? Or are they going to keep Vucevic? Just a totally interesting roster that you got to see where they're going to go here.
Right. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be an interesting little thing here, carving it up with Bryson Carver. I miss one show and Mike is already settled. I'm beside myself. For real, though, y'all are killing it tonight. See, so here's what I don't understand. So he's got time to comment, but he doesn't have time to be here. This is what makes me mad. I appreciate the support, but I'm still mad at him.
If you got time to comment, you got time to log on.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Man the controls, sir. I'm struggling over here. Man, oh man. I'm not a host. I'm an analyst. Or at least, I don't know. Maybe I'm neither. Who knows?
I thought the Bulls might like that guard that's already off the board from BYU. But
yeah.
He's a lot like Josh Giddey, but I didn't know if they were planning on keeping Josh Giddey. I don't think any team really plans on wanting to keep Josh Giddey, but they might be stuck.
So it's interesting because there was a report earlier that said the Bulls were thinking about trading Lonzo Ball or Kobe White. They wanted to trade one of Kobe White or Lonzo Ball. So I believe the pick here is in for the Chicago Bulls at number 12 as Adam Silver gets ready to step to the podium. The pick here is in at number 12. Adam Silver announcing the pick. And the selection here is Noah Asenge out of France. This is an interesting pick. One of the most interesting players in the draft, the number 13 overall player on the board for me, Noah Asenge, 6'10", 200 pounds, super high upside. That's one thing I want to point out. Played for Ulm in the Europe Cup last year, averaged 12.5 points for them. Listen, he's a really solid player. He's of German descent, typical Euro player with tons of upside, has great length and athleticism, but he doesn't have a whole lot of experience. This is one of these kind of draft and, you're going to have to develop this kid, but he does a little bit of everything. He can shoot it a little. He's a good ball handler for his size. He provides some versatility on the defensive side. He doesn't really have a specialty. That's really the thing that most people have a concern with, is that he doesn't really have a specialty. He was pretty inconsistent with his perimeter shot last year, shot under 30% from three, but he's a baby. He won't be able to play right away, but a good athlete, good screen and roll player. Reminds me a lot of Pascal Siakam. So it'll be really interesting to see what he can do. And again, this is what I like to see. You saw a guy that was compared to Miles Turner, a guy that was compared to Aaron Nesmith, and now a guy that's compared to Pascal Siakam. They saw what the Pacers did, and now they're trying to mirror what they've done with these players. So Noah Asenge out of France, he goes to the Chicago Bulls at number 12. What do you make of the pick here, Tyler?
Well, I watched some of his tape, and he is fascinating to watch. He's no slouch whatsoever. And I know that's European ball, but this guy knows how to move with and without the basketball. He knows how to score the basketball, dribble the basketball, pass the basketball, and also defend the on ball, off ball. I think this is a one of those guys that we didn't get enough time to really scout because he's overseas, but that is going to come in the league. Maybe not necessarily as good as Bilal Koulibaly, but somebody that it can ball on that next tier with somebody like him. So he's going to be fun to watch, and I definitely think people are going to be surprised to see his leap in even year one.
So Noah Asenge ends up going to the Chicago Bulls. We have a trade to announce here. The number 13 pick that was supposed to belong to the Atlanta Hawks is now headed to the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans are now going to be selecting at number 13. So the Hawks are trading number 13 to the Pelicans for the number 23 pick in an unprotected 2026 first round pick. So Atlanta
Interesting.
moves down, picks up an extra first round pick, and the Pelicans are now going to be on the clock once again. So here at number 13, the Pelicans have already made a pick here, Tyler, with picking Jeremiah Fears. They must be dialed in on another player. Who do you think that player might be?
Very interesting to see. They just like you said, they must want somebody else. It could be Queens from man. I really don't know. You stumped me on this one. I'm surprised that Queens hasn't been talked about more coming off the board with his ability to score the ball at his size.
So the pick is in here for the New Orleans Pelicans. It'll be interesting to see what they do here. Again, a trade with the Atlanta Hawks. New Orleans is now here picking at number 13. Kasparis Giacochonis, still the top player on my board, number 7 on the board right now. But I would imagine that they don't go another point guard. Somebody like Carter Bryant, like I've said, he's a
Carter
very
Bryant would be
interesting
the other
player.
guy I would say would be Carter Bryant.
Nick Clifford out of Colorado State. As you said, Derek Queen is somebody that's going to be really interesting as well. I don't know if they're announcing the pick here. They're doing an NBA Pioneers little a thing here, I guess, for 1950. But I don't know if this is a pick that they are announcing. But I'll throw up the draft chimes anyway, just so that I'm prepared for this. But the New Orleans Pelicans now on the clock, and their pick is in here at number 13. New Orleans earlier in the draft, going and getting Jeremiah Fears, the point guard out of Oklahoma. Again, super fast, super athletic point guard that they can pair in that backcourt. So we'll see what they do here. Do they go with a center? Do they go with somebody like Derek Queen out of Maryland? Do they take a 3-and-D player like Carter Bryant out of Arizona? There's plenty of options here. Walter Clayton, he's valued as a point guard, but is not necessarily a point guard. You could play him as a 2 if you really need him to, as an outside shooter. Somebody like Jace Richardson out of Michigan State. So again, we'll see what they do, but this is an interesting selection here for New Orleans to see what kind of direction they want to go in. So I don't know what's something that they could address, Tyler. I mean, they already took a point guard. What else on their roster could be using a little bit of fixing here?
Well, now that they traded C.J. McCollum, who's a off-ball scorer, you mentioned Robinson Jr., who is the son of a player, Jason or Richardson or Robinson.
Jason Richardson's.
Yeah, and
Yep.
he both went to Michigan State, so they got that pedigree, and that guy could absolutely play. In the culture that Michigan State, if you even do 1 year there, you're very well off for it because they teach a rigid style of training, coaching, developing. I think that he could be very interesting and be piece that comes in and gets minutes and scores immediately in the league. You don't necessarily have to run plays for him. That guy's going to find the net. He's just like his dad. He can see the bottom of the net. That's a very interesting name. I wouldn't be surprised if they go with him as well.
Well,
Um,
the Pelicans made their selection at number 13, and it is Derek Queen out of Maryland. So they do go with the big man. He is headed to the New Orleans Pelicans after a trade with the Hawks. Derek Queen, one of the better bigs in the draft this year. Really, really interesting player. 6'10", 246. He's a big-bodied big. 16 and a half points a game, 9 rebounds. He's the first Maryland freshman drafted in the first round in the modern draft era. That's a big accomplishment here for Derek Queen. Massive body. He can bang around down low and play physical on the offensive end. He has real nice touch around the rim. Field goal percentage was about 52%, but he's got such nice touch. He's got a really solid post game, really good offensive post center. He's kind of an old schoolish sort of center with his post game. Great passer for his size. He moves really well for his size. He doesn't have much presence defensively. I think that's something that he can develop over time, but somebody that can really score on the offensive side. If he can develop a defensive presence, he can become a more consistent shot blocker, rim protector. He can be a real big-time center in the NBA. Doesn't have much of a jumper, but he reminds me a lot of Al Jefferson. This is another one of these big centers that can really score and move up and down the floor really well. So Derek Queen going to the New Orleans Pelicans. Tyler, what do we think?
Yeah, what you said the most is that this guy can move. He's a big guy, but he has absolute enamored footwork, and he's fast as a guard. If he's on defense, he might be able to guard 1 through 5, and he's got the footwork to be able to dribble out, high or dribble, in the mid game or dribble down low. So this guy's a 3-level scorer as well. And he was the second center on my draft board. I had him in the top 10, but he goes 13. Great pick. And it looks like New Orleans wanted him so bad that they traded up to get him. So I see why they like him, and I think they're going to be happy in Mr. Derek Queen.
Derek Queen heading to the New Orleans Pelicans, wearing the Atlanta Hawks hat, but he will be headed to the New Orleans Pelicans. Now it's time to pivot back over to the San Antonio Spurs. As we wrap up the lottery, the San Antonio Spurs are back on the clock. At number 2, they selected Dylan Harper. Tyler, what do we think they go here? What do you think they could address now that they've taken another point guard? They've added to that mix. What's something that they could look for here with their second lottery pick?
Oh man, I would say a power forward now. That's their probably position with the least amount of depth, because you're stacked on guards. You're stacked on front court. You really got to go get a small forward here, a power forward, somebody that you're able to plug in right on that second unit.
Somebody like Carter Bryant makes a lot of sense here
Yeah,
for me.
I was going to say Carter Bryant because I'm surprised he hasn't gone yet. If you're San Antonio here and Carter Bryant's on the board, you got to go get him.
Yeah. Would not surprise me if they tried to address something on the wing, somebody, some sort of backup big as well. Somebody like Asa Newell, I think could go somewhere here as well. There's plenty of centers they could choose from. Danny Wolf. The pick here is in. As we start up the draft chimes, Adam Silver announcing the pick now. And the pick here at number 14 is, in fact, Carter Bryant out of Arizona. A great pick here by the San Antonio Spurs. My number 8 player on the board reminds me a lot of OG Anunoby. Just a long, real solid player. Just unbelievable 3-and-D ability. If I can find his draft profile, that would be great. Here it is. Perfect. 6'8", 220 pounds. Came off the bench last year. Started 9 games for Arizona last year as a freshman. He's a fairly safe 3-and-D prospect. Real nice form on his jumper. Hits 40% of his standstill threes. Very good athlete. He can finish above the rim. Excellent defender with a knack for going after blocks. He's an NBA-ready body. I think this is a kid that can play right away. He's not a ball-dominant player. He lacks a kind of a strong handle, and he can be a little turnover-prone. But listen, this kid is a shooter. He's a 3-and-D kid out of Arizona. Really one of the better high school recruits in 2024. Again, reminds me a lot of OG Anunoby. This is a great pick here for San Antonio. They end up getting my number 3, and number 8 players in this draft. So San Antonio really beefing up what their young core looks like with Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant.
Yeah, you got to feel good if you're that San Antonio front office and you're Mitch Johnson, first-year head coach. They just brought in Sean Sweeney as well from the Mavericks to cure up that coaching roster. So, hey, you got a roster now. San Antonio's got some pieces. What are they going to do? I still don't think they're going to be awfully quiet in the free agency. But maybe you don't go out and get a big piece, but maybe you go out and get a semi-good piece and build around these young guys. They have a lot of options, and I think this is a good start for them.
So Carter Bryant getting paired with Dylan Harper in this draft class. Those are their only 2 picks. They traded away their second rounder earlier today. So they walk away from this draft, at least for now, with Carter Bryant and Dylan Harper. A great haul here for the San Antonio Spurs. 2 of my top 8 players ending up in San Antonio. The number 15 pick. It's funny to even say this, but the number 15 pick belongs to the Oklahoma City Thunder. As crazy as that sounds, the Oklahoma City Thunder are on the clock after just
Sam
winning
Presti.
the NBA Finals. They are on the clock here with the number 15 pick. And they, by the way, have 2 first-rounders.
Sam Presti never sleeps.
They have number 15 and number 24 tonight. So,
Goodness gracious.
Tyler, it seems like their team is almost perfect. But if there's an area that they could look to address, what can Oklahoma City do to improve their roster tonight?
Oh, my gosh, dude. You got to be so careful because they're only going to be better. They're already coming out heavy favorites to win next year. Man, maybe you maybe you could get another big, but you got to be careful on doing anything to that roster. Sam Presti is just a mastermind. I don't know what he's going to do with all these picks, but he just praised after they won the title how their youth development was what made them the best. And so, whatever he does, I believe it's going to be a good move, and it's probably going to flourish.
We'll see what they do. It's going to be they their roster is so loaded. We talked about it a lot on 8 o'clock spot last night, but their roster is just so loaded. It's damn near perfect. I mean, look, man, we'll see, but I would love to see what Oklahoma City can continue to do, building around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Again, 2 first-round picks tonight. I think they have 2 more first-round picks next year. I think they have 2 first-round picks the year after that. They just have so many picks, so many assets to improve this roster. But just to give you an idea, just to as we wrapped up the lottery and we're about to wrap up the first half of this first round, top 5 players available for me. Kasparis Giacochonis is still the top player here for me. The point guard out of Illinois, he's still the top player. Nick Clifford is next after him. Walter Clayton Jr., the point guard out of Florida. Danny Wolf, the center out of Michigan, I think is a really solid player. And then Jace Richardson out of Michigan State is somebody that I would look at as well. Those are the top 5 available now. So could they go for a backup big? Could they go for some sort of reserve in somewhere just another bench player to add more depth. I don't think it would be crazy to expect them to take another big, but the pick is reportedly in here for the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll see what they do. Listen, they could go in any direction they want. They could go with a draft and stash sort of player. But again, we'll see what they do here. So again, thank you for tuning in. We're having a lot of fun here on the show, on the NBA Draft Live Reaction Show. Again, I'm trying to keep it together. As far as I'm concerned, I feel. Listen, it's always a blast with these guys here, and I'm glad to have Tyler with me as well. So, Oklahoma City on the clock. Followed that. That pick was supposed to be Memphis, but it is going to be Portland at number 16, and then the Timberwolves at 17. They'll be picking after them. 68 wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder this year and winning an NBA title in 7 games. The Pacers gave them a run for their money, but Oklahoma City they were just insane this year, and certainly in what seems to be every facet.
Did that front office even have time to deliberate on who they wanted? I mean, the parade was what, yesterday morning, and man, I would have still been partying if I was in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, no kidding. But boy, oh boy, are they! I'm sure they're pumped for this. They are ecstatic about being in this spot and not having to go nuts on draft day, as some other teams might have to. But again, we'll see what they go with here. I'm sure they take these picks just as seriously, even after they win a championship. They want to win several more. So through the lottery here, we're already through the lottery here in the first round. And then again, we're back tomorrow again for the second round. I still am not sure why they split it up into 2 days. I really am not sure why they split up the first and second round. I really don't get it. The NFL draft I get, but
yeah,
the
NBA's
NBA,
on some weird stuff.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. If I ever get a chance to talk to Adam Silver, that's what I'm going to ask him. But let's cue up the draft chimes as Adam Silver is at the podium, ready to make the selection here for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Dun, dun, dun.
And an interesting pick indeed that they make. They do go with a backup big to add to their rotation as they bring in the Georgetown big Thomas Sorber. He ends up going to the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown. If I can find, again, I've got everything so not even relatively, or I was so organized before right now, but now I'm just completely all over the place. If I can just find his damn scouting report. Here we go. Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown, 6'10", 255, super big body on this kid, 14.5 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 2 blocks a game, real solid defender. He's a very good passer as a big man. He looks the part, has a big body, can bang around down low, good rebounder. He moves really well laterally. He's a very good side-to-side horizontal athlete. He has soft touch around the rim, can knock down a jumper. He gives you some anchor down low. He did not have great numbers as a shooter last year. He plays below the rim. That's the troubling part with his game, is that he's so big, but he still plays below the rim. Not a great screen and a role player, and you're not really sure what his defensive upside is, but again, a good passer, good touch around the rim. He should be able to finish fairly well. And Oklahoma City seeing something in a big man here in Thomas Sorber that several people really, really liked. Reminds me a lot of Wendell Carter Jr. He was my number 22 player on the board. So a solid pick here by Oklahoma City. Tyler, what do we think? They go back up big here at number 15.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. That's the only position that they weren't completely wealthy in, and they're just adding to their loaded roster. You can't go wrong here, but might as well get what you're least wealthy at. And Sam Presti saw that was the least depth, and hey, Sorber has been on a lot of people's draft boards, maybe not this high, but that's for a reason. So I think he's going to add something to this championship roster. He probably won't get any playing time the first year, but hey, look what team you're going on. So I think he'll be happy to happy to be a part of that team.
It's tough to complain, right? Tough to complain. Hey, you're going to the defending champs. So
Exactly.
Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown, the big man out of Georgetown, ends up going to the Oklahoma City Thunder at number 15. As we move now back to what we thought we had before, but we now move back to the Portland Trailblazers. They are back on the clock here at number 16 after they traded with Memphis. Memphis going up and getting Cedric Coward at number 11. And now we have the Portland Trailblazers here at 16. So Tyler, what are we thinking here still here with Portland? Again, we talked about them a little bit earlier, but what's something that they could look to address here with this pick?
Yeah, I mean now they might need to start looking into getting a backup center as well. Um, they got a wealth of and I don't know how exactly they're going to have a tall lineup to begin with, but like I said, that roster is not done. So it's hard to say where we're going to plug and play people now because that starting five, what it is now, could be a lot different. You're going to have Ingram and Barrett, right? But beyond that, really have no idea.
So we'll see what Portland does
Oh,
in this
Portland,
spot.
my bad.
So Portland, their pick is in here at number 16. Again, we'll see where they go here. Thomas Sorber going off the board to Oklahoma City with the previous pick. Portland in an interesting position here. A lot of roster movement. Trading Anthony Simons to the Boston Celtics just a couple of days ago. Really kind of shuffling the roster. We'll see what they go with. I don't know.
Sorry, I was looking at the Raptors there. My bad, brother.
Listen, man, it's a long night. It's a long night. So I'm not sure they go point guard. Kasparis Jakachonis, Walter Clayton, still guys that I like that are on the board here at 16. But could they go with a 3-and-D-ish kind of player like Neek Clifford? Could they go for somebody like Jace Richardson? I think that's something that they can entertain. Asa Newell, I think, is somebody to look at here as well at that power forward position. Wouldn't be surprised if they took somebody of that ilk as well. But at this point in the draft, it's really kind of hard to predict where teams can go. But the Blazers now on the clock. They're sitting here at number 16 after trading back from number 11. So let's see what they do here with this selection as we are getting ready. It looks like for Adam Silver to head over to the podium in just a minute or so. Again, interesting stuff here. Portland last year kind of underwhelmed what they were expected to do. I mean, at least from a developmental standpoint, they really want to get more out of Scoot Henderson that they have been over the past couple of years since they drafted him. So again, it's all about what they think about what their team needs from a developmental standpoint. Obviously, bringing in somebody like Donovan Clingan to add to that rotation as well. So I don't know. We'll see what they go for here. Let's see what we have here. The pick is in for Portland. ESPN right now is interviewing Cooper Flagg, so I'm sure that they're holding up the process here so that they can get this part in. We have officially reached 10 o'clock here on the East Coast, and about 2 hours in to this draft coverage as we're halfway through the first round. And then again, we're back tomorrow for the second round of the 2025 NBA draft. So again, it's amazing how the NBA and the NFL are so different. The NFL draft happens like 2 months after the Super Bowl. The NBA draft happens less than a week after Game 7 of the NBA Finals. It is unbelievable the way the NBA does things.
It's nuts, man. This was a very rich draft in the first round, so I was looking forward to this one.
Yeah, very deep, very deep. And here's the thing too, and this is the thing that I found with this draft is that it almost seemed like the again the top eight or the top six players in the draft were solidified. Those were going to be the first six players selected. The um the next 15 or so picks were going to be coming out of a hat. Like they were just, it was going to be from a group of guys, but you didn't really know who it was going to be for exactly. The pick here is in for the Portland Trailblazers as we fire up the chimes for Adam Silver. Wow. So very interesting selection here as the Portland Trailblazers select Yang Hansen out of China. The center out of China, Yang Hansen, goes here to the Portland Trailblazers. Really interesting
What?
pick. Really something else, man. I'm really surprised that this is who they went with. But again, one of these big guys, one of these bigger centers, and he's been all over the international scene. Again, really big center, 7'2", 255, very unique prospect. His ability to see the floor is fantastic. He's a great passer, quick reads under pressure, real offensive stud here for heading to Portland. Again, just adding to a big man room that features Donovan Clingan. So now they've got two monstrous bigs that they can work with. 2.5 blocks a game last season at Qingdao. So very interesting pick here. Hansen Yang, who was in the audience, he was in the stands. He ends up going to the Portland Trailblazers at number 16.
Wow.
So Yang Hansen, he ends up in Portland. Very interesting pick. So Portland felt comfortable enough to get him. Rim protector, really solid defensive player. Just a really nice, eye for the game. That's one of the things that you come away with him with is that he's just such a smart basketball player. So he ends up going to the Portland Trailblazers. Really interesting stuff. A good spot for him to end up. We move to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Minnesota is now on the clock. Interesting position that they are in now. By the way, Yang Hansen joins Yao Ming and Yi Jian Lian as players selected in the first round from China. So an accomplishment there as well. The Minnesota Timberwolves are now on the clock. So, Tyler, what do we think Minnesota can do here at number 17?
Well, they had a really good draft last year when they went and got Dillingham and Shannon Jr. from Illinois. So they might even be looking up at as a backup center, maybe even somebody that could stretch the floor when Rudy Gobert's out. Somebody that could shoot threes, but also rim protect. That would have been helpful to have in that series that they lost, and they're just not. They're not quite there, but they're a couple pieces away. So I would keep chipping at the beat. They've done really good the last couple drafts. I expect them to make a pretty good play here to get somebody that'll help.
So we'll see where they go here with Minnesota. They're close. It just feels like they're so close, right?
Yeah.
To a championship. Anthony Edwards obviously leading the charge for them. What they got out of Jaden McDaniels this year as well is
Hmm.
something that needs to be looked at. And I think they're going to be even better next year once Rob Dillingham gets more into the fold. Another year in his progression, I think that backcourt could be really, really scary and pairing that
Yep.
up, obviously, with Rudy Gobert manning the middle. So we'll see where they go here. Minnesota on the clock here at number 17. Their pick is in. So let's see exactly where they go. I don't know, man. They've hit on a bunch of draft picks recently, but we do have the commissioner heading over to the podium as we fire up the draft chimes for Minnesota at number 17. And the pick for Minnesota is Johan Behringer out of France. So they go another. So bigs are starting to come off the board here, Tyler, as they go Johan Behringer out of France. Really interesting pick. The number 23 player on my board reminds me a lot of Nerlens Noel. He is a true, the way that I characterized him was he is a true rim running big in its purest form. He really is. Great size and length combined with athleticism, plays above the rim. He has the upside to be an elite rim protector. Played for Cedevita Vita Olympia in the Euro Cup last year and the ABA. So coming from overseas, I'm assuming since he's at the draft, he's ready to play now. Good rebounder. He finishes with authority. Great in transition, and he's great moving off screens. The thing with him is that he doesn't shoot at all. He is a pure rim running big. He needs a little bit of time to develop, and I think that they're going to be able to give him that. And Rudy Gobert is a great guy to learn from in that respect. 6'11", 230 pounds, great wingspan. There's no Jokic to his game, but he certainly is just a rim running, rim protecting, finish at the rim, catch lobs kind of big. Real solid pick here for Minnesota. What do we make of this pick here for Tyler Redington?
As you said, it's just a great pick. It gives them so much more flexibility. Somebody that's able to run the floor and play with the length of the guys like McDaniels, like Edwards, Gobert. I think this guy, you immediately could plug him in, and he could be a very good.
So,
and my dog apparently approves of the pick too, so she's going with Mr. Ringer as well.
Very interesting in that respect for Minnesota. Washington now back on the clock. The Wizards earlier taking Trey Johnson at number 6. They are now here at number 18. I mean, Tyler, this is interesting now. So where could the Wizards address with their second first-round pick?
So now that you got a solidified center, you have a point guard, you have a floor spacer. Now you're looking to get a small forward or a power forward that could fit with some of those building blocks that you've been building on. Now is when you really start putting the pieces together to try to formulate a team that could be built out of the draft. You've had all the picks in the world to do it. This is one of the deeper drafts. I'd say you fill one of those holes in the front court. Get to the drawing boards and let's see what y'all could do. I want to see Washington be good. I think everybody does. It's been forever since they have. They're under new leadership. So let's see what they're able to do here.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. Washington, again, drafting a pure scorer in Trey Johnson. I mean, he is a pure bucket getter. Again, another version of Devin Booker in my mind. Pure scorer. Could they go and try to pair him up? I mean, they have Bilal Coulibaly, who they let handle the ball a good amount of the time. Alex Sarr, their future at center. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. They can go in several different directions. This is not a roster that is solidified. This is not a roster that is ready to win now. They need to draft true developmental pieces, guys that they can feel comfortable with. So, listen, I always say this. You can never have enough 3-and-D guys. Like, you can never have enough guys that shoot threes and play defense. So guys like Neek Clifford, guys like Jace Richardson, Adu Thiero out of Arkansas is somebody that I'll look at as well. There's plenty of players that you can choose from at this position. and have a real legitimate impact. So they could find a big. They already grabbed their shot creating guard that can make a difference with them in that respect. So the Washington Wizards now on the clock here at number 18. And we're almost done with the top 20. Washington, Brooklyn, and then Miami. And then we wrap up the top 20, and we're 2/3 of the way through our first round. 2 hours and 10 minutes into the show. We are flying by, folks. It's really, really something else. It's Christmas in June, at least obviously for me. I've made that known for several years now. So we'll see. Washington right now, they have the 6th pick. They now have 18, and they also have number 40 tomorrow night. So we'll see what that looks like as well. What they do with the rest of their draft. This is a team that needs a lot of help. So we'll see what they do. Tyler, is this so? As we've looked at as far as the first round right now, San Antonio has obviously killed the draft thus far. Dallas obviously getting the prize with Cooper Flagg. But is there a pick that stands out to you as a pick that you really liked through the first half of this first round?
I mean, I hope you could respect that I can't go any further than saying this is the Dallas Maverick first number one pick in NBA history. I gotta go with Cooper Flagg. Now, I would like to see the Mavs trade up for Will Clayton Jr. To get some help off the ball on that second, but I don't think we're going to do that. I got to be happy with where we're at now. Besides being obviously biased and selfish towards my team, I think that number 5 pick, seeing that Ace Bailey humbles himself, I think that's going to end up being one of the ones that you asterisk that say, "Damn, we shouldn't have let him fool us. He was just a little kid." And I'm hoping that for him. He could be a crash dummy, which is, he's shown to be a little bit. But I'm hoping that his skill and he grows up and becomes the player that he was on the draft board, which is 1 or 2.
The pick is in here for the Washington Wizards at number 18. Let's fire up the chimes for Adam Silver. Getting ready here for the Washington Wizards selection. What do we have? Breaking news now? So it looks like we have a report here from Shams. Washington. Oh, okay. So the number 18 pick, this pick is now headed to the Utah Jazz. So Utah is now going to be making this selection here for the Washington at 18. This is now the Utah Jazz selection here at number 18. So Utah already grabbing Ace Bailey. And it looks like they are just about ready to make their selection here at 18. Tyler, what do you think? Where do you think they go here? Utah grabbing Ace Bailey. What's another thing they could look to address? What's another area they could try to bring in?
Now I think they're talking about a backup center too. They got Walker Kessler as their main guy. I think they need somebody to go behind them, or even somebody that fills in John Collins' slot. You don't know. He's been on the trading block every single year. You don't know if they're going to keep him around. He's always underperformed on that Jazz team, so we could also see them draft a power forward.
Yeah, should be interesting to see what they do here. The pick is in here for the Utah Jazz. We are just awaiting for the commissioner to announce the pick. But the pick is in. Washington trading the 18th pick to Utah. So this coming in, just breaking news here in that respect. So let me see if I can find, in the meantime, if we can find some, if I can find some specifics on this trade being made. Let's see here. Do we have details? So Utah sent the number 21 pick and second round picks to Washington for number 18. So Washington is now moving down to 21. Utah moving up from 21 to 18 to draft this player. So the board says Washington. This will go to Utah. Again, bringing in Ace Bailey, maybe the surprise of the draft so far with Utah drafting Ace Bailey. And it looks like Commissioner Silver is announcing the pick now. We already fired up the chimes before. He's announcing a trade, and here comes the pick. And they select the national champion, Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida. The point guard goes to the Utah Jazz, and they add him to the room with Ace Bailey with their draft haul. Walter Clayton, the number 12 player on my board, reminds me a lot of Fred VanVleet, 6'2", 195 pounds, averaged 18 points a game at Florida this past year, won the national championship, was all-tourney, all-region in the NCAA tournament, spent 2 years at Iona and then 2 years at Florida. He's an exceptional perimeter shooter. This kid can really light it up from the outside, can really bury teams with his shooting and shot creation ability. He's an above-average athlete for his size. He can really get up there. He can create turnovers on the defensive end, a proven winner. And again, if he's in a backcourt where he can be paired and play some off-ball, I think he's really going to thrive in that environment. He's undersized. He doesn't really do well sharing the basketball at times. He can get a little tunnel vision on the offensive side. But if you can reel him in and kind of dial in his skill set, I think you can see this kid have a massive impact at the NBA level right away. Tyler, you were saying that you wanted the Mavericks to get back into the first round. Oh, he's gone. But this is a big pick here for the Utah Jazz. Walter Clayton ends up going to the Utah Jazz after a trade with Washington. So good stuff there. Walter Clayton ends up with the Utah Jazz. And we are heading down to Brooklyn now, it looks like, for the number 19 pick. National champion, my Gators. Tim Barnard's Gators, ready to fly. He is headed to Utah. Just big-time clutch gene. Like, it just played in so many big moments. A crazy shooter. I mean, listen, I'm higher on Walter Clayton than some others. Just a big-time player. Super, super big-time player. So the Brooklyn Nets, they are now back on the clock. Let's see if I can give myself a little bit of a better view here from the camera. Here we go. So if I just throw that up like there, that works. I don't know where Tyler went, but he is, I'm sure at some point, maybe he'll be back. Maybe he won't, but we'll see. Number 19. This pick is belonging to the Brooklyn Nets. They made a pick earlier. It was Agor Demon out of BYU. They selected a point guard. So anything can help. I mean, this is a Brooklyn Nets roster that is in such need of so many things. I doubt they address point guard again. So somebody like Jocko Chonis, I don't think is going to be on the board for them here. But could they go for somebody like a scorer like Jace Richardson? Could they go for some experience? Somebody maybe like Tyrese Proctor out of Duke, where you just kind of need to unleash the beast with him. You need to, because when we saw him as a freshman, he was just so good. And his production since then has kind of dipped down as some of these other guys have come in. Cooper Flagg, Con Knippel, these guys, as they came in, Tyrese Proctor's production went down. So can they get the best out of whoever drafts him? Can they get the best out of Tyrese Proctor? Maybe a shooter, a pure shooter like Liam McNeely at a UConn, right? So one of these perimeter guys that can just light it up from the outside. Drake Powell in that same breath as well. So we'll see what they go with. I still have 2 top 10 players on the board. I still Kasparis, Jakuchonis, and Nick Clifford are two players in my top 10 that are still on the board that I think are going to have a big impact at the NBA level. Danny Wolf out of Michigan, Jace Richardson, and then Asa Newell out of Georgia. Those are the top 5 remaining best for me. Again, all of which are in the top 20. So we'll see where we go from here. But Walter Clayton ends up going to the Utah Jazz. The pick is in here for the Brooklyn Nets at number 19. Let's see if we get any. So Utah sent number 43 and second rounders in 2031 and 2032 to Washington in that trade. So they're getting a pick tomorrow night, and then they're getting picks 6 and 7 years from now. So it is remarkable how some of these NBA trades work. Oh my goodness gracious. But Brooklyn their pick is in. Agor Demon already on their draft card. We'll see where they go. Again, 3-and-D. Do they go for another big? I mean, I can't imagine with Day'Ron Sharpe and Nick Claxton. They're pretty good at that spot. But we'll see where they go from here. Good news is that the Yankees won, so I can be in a good mood for the rest of the night. Oh boy. Like I said, I'm gonna throw this out there again. If you did not catch it before, the first episode of PB&J with Jeff Parles and John Jansen, make sure you go back and listen to that, because that was top tier content. The pick is in here for the Brooklyn Nets. Let's fire up the chimes for them at number 19. Wow, so they do go with another point guard, but one with a little bit more, I'll say a little bit more upside, but way more risk. They take Nolan Traore, another French point guard. He goes to the Brooklyn Nets. Such an interesting player. My number 28 player reminds me a lot of Jeff Teague. This kid is so interesting. He really is. One of the top French point guards. This kid was viewed as the next great French point guard, like the next Tony Parker. That's what this kid was supposed to be. Then he had such an inconsistent year last year at St. Quentin that all that hype kind of went a little bit out the window. Just high pedigree. He's got uber upside. He's had uber upside ever since he was a kid. Crafty finisher at the rim with a smooth handle, incredible body control, great speed and agility as a lead guard. He shoots it with confidence. If that shot falls, he can really be a dangerous offensive player. Good passer. That's the thing, though, is he's just been very hot and cold as an offensive player. If the shots aren't falling, he can go really long stretches where these shots simply do not fall. It is just it can get really ugly in that respect. He's not much of a factor on defense. He's not a great defensive player. Reminds me a lot of Jeff Teague. I think he's a little bit more of a skillful Jeff Teague, but love Nolan Traore as a player. Number 28. This just goes to how deep this prospect class is. Nolan Traore ends up going to the Brooklyn Nets at number 19. Really solid player. A risky pick, but I think worth the risk in a lot of ways. So Nolan Traore goes to the Brooklyn Nets at number 19. So now we go to the number 20 pick in this draft, and that belongs to the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat on the clock now. They will be making their selection here at number 20. Their pick is not in. This is going to be an interesting selection for them. They've hit on a lot of their draft picks recently. So we'll see what they go with. Only 37 wins last year. They were 10th in the East. This is their only pick in the draft, by the way. It's just this pick. So what can they address? Could they use somebody that can facilitate their offense? I think they could. Listen, Kasparis Jakuchonis, I think, is a masterful fit here for this team. Masterful fit. Just an unbelievable player. I'm surprised he's still on the board. He's my number 7 overall player. He's the guy before him on my board is Con Knipple. I'm really that high on Jakuchonis. I think he's really that good. So, like I said, Jakuchonis, he's the Halliburton of this draft for me. He really is. It really is a fantastic player. So I'd love to see them kind of draft one of these point guards that can get everybody involved. I'd love to see that out of this roster, because that could really be a great step up for them. Tim Barnard, let's go, Mike. What happened to my Celtics not trading Jaylen Brown? I don't know, Timmy. I don't know what the Celtics are doing anymore. I really don't. I wish I had answers for you, but I don't. The pick here is in for the Miami Heat at number 20. If we just see for a moment if this pick is going anywhere. It doesn't look like it is. It looks like it is going to stay right here with Miami. Up next should be the Washington Wizards after that trade with Utah. So at 21, this next pick should be Washington. Miami, again, this is their only pick here in this draft. So let's see what the Heat do after getting pummeled, by the way, by my Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs this year. Make sure you throw that one out there. But again, we're ready to go here. We have Shams. We have Shams. Alert. What does this mean? What is this? What is going on here? Shams is okay. Twitter time. What happens now? I'm not seeing anything. I'm panicking. Don't know what's going on, but we're figuring it out together at this point. But the Miami Heat right now on the clock at number 20. Gosh, man. That's one of my favorite things about this class. There's just so many good bigs. There really is. Thomas Sorber and Johan Berenger are already gone. I really like Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf out of Michigan is a stud. But that's the thing is we have these really versatile bigs. Danny Wolf, Maxim Reynaud is a good player. Yeah, we just have some studs here. All right, the pick is in here for Miami. Adam Silver to the podium. Let's fire up the draft chimes for the Miami Heat. And there it is. What a pick. Might be my favorite pick of the whole draft. Seriously, about time that somebody took Kasparis Jakuchonis out of Illinois. My number 7 overall player. Number 7. Words can't even explain how high I was on this kid. He is just so good. Such a good player. Such a good point guard. Reminds me of Tyrese Halliburton. I really think he's that level of player. All Big Ten all freshman, 6'6", 205, 15 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists. I mean, I think this kid is so good from Lithuania. Really, just such a special point guard. Um, Big time playmaker. He's just such an exceptional passer, such a good basketball player. He's extremely nifty and crafty with the ball in his hands. He's the master of the drive and kick. That he fits so well as a modern NBA point guard with size, right? Drive and kick. He's just all there. He's not incredibly consistent. He has a very smooth jumper. I think it's a very like developmental jumper. He can really make that work. He's going to thrive in the pick and roll. I love his ability to facilitate the offense. Now, again, he's not a terrific athlete. He's not going to bang around inside. He's not going to be a strong finisher at the rim. But listen, he's just got such a good feel for this game. He just does. He's such a good player. I love his instincts. He's an average defender, but as a facilitator, this kid is so good. The Miami Heat getting a stud with Kasparis Jakučionis. Whoever was drafting this kid, I was going to be extremely happy with. So the Miami Heat making a great pick here with Kasparis Jakučionis at number 20. Seriously, one of my favorite players in the whole draft. So now this pick here is reportedly headed to the Washington Wizards, number 21. This pick is reportedly headed to the Washington Wizards. Okay, so again, that's the thing, is these draft day moves happen at the drop of a hat. They really do. Like, it is so quick how some of this stuff happens, especially in the NBA. They happen so quickly. So this pick it's going to come up as Utah's pick, but this is a trade with Washington. Again, if you remember just moments ago, Washington trading the number 18 pick to Utah. That was Walter Clayton Jr. So now this pick should belong to Washington, 21. Washington picking Trey Johnson earlier in the draft. Now, again, the top player on the board for me is Nick Clifford, shooting guard at Colorado State. I think he's a really solid player. I think he's the best player on the board now. Nick Clifford, Danny Wolf, Jace Richardson, Asa Newell, and Edu Thiero, I think, is another player that really needs to be looked at as well. And then after that, it's Tyrese Proctor. Like, Tyrese Proctor is one of my favorite players in the draft. Like, if you're willing to take a risk on a player in this draft, Tyrese Proctor late in the first round, I think is something to look at. Like, genuinely. He's such a good player. Such a good player. So the pick is in here for the Washington Wizards. Washington has been such a mess for so long. I mean, they just need good basketball players, regardless of the position, it feels like, and they've now, I mean, they look so much different than what they did just a couple of days ago. I mean, they have so many veterans now, right? Chris Middleton, they just brought in CJ McCollum, like, Marcus Smart. Like, this roster is it's so odd the way that they're doing things. But they have a young, good center in Alex Sarr, who they drafted last year with the number 2 pick, right? They have Bilal Coulibaly, who I know that they like. What are they going to do now that they brought in Trey Johnson? Now they have a bona fide, legit baller. Like, that is a Devin Booker level scorer. What can they do here? What can they can do a million different things. There isn't really a facilitator anymore on the board unless they really went to reach. I mean, Ben Saraf out of Israel is a player that you could get at this point, and it wouldn't be too terrible of a reach. I know Hugo Gonzalez, I would bet dollars to donuts that Hugo Gonzalez goes tonight as well. I mean, Again, not really facilitators. So it'll be interesting to see where they go in this respect as well. Again, this is a pick that is right now, it is saying right now to Utah, but this is a trade to the Washington Wizards. And I can appreciate, by the way, how some of the broadcasts are trying to make these trades easier for the viewer. Because, I mean, most of the time it is just a nightmare to try to figure out what is what and who goes where and whatever when trades happen in the NBA draft. It is just a nightmare. So I do appreciate that they try to simplify it, but the NBA as a whole needs to fix that system. They just have to fix that system. Like, what is it that, why is it so different? Why is it so different now that, because it's the NBA rather than the NFL? Because the NFL approves trades right away. Right there. This pick is being traded to this, and now they're picking whatever. And it's so simple, so easy to follow. The NBA is just different. I don't understand why they do it that way. But the pick is in here for Washington. We are 2/3 of the way through. 10 picks left here on the first night of the NBA draft. The Washington Wizards now with the 21st pick. They should be getting ready to go. The draft chimes firing away for Adam Silver. Might have gotten a little ahead of myself, but listen, man, I don't usually man the controls. I'm usually the guy that just sits back and has the easy job. But all right, I think we're ready. No, hey, that wasn't so bad. That was not so bad. Adam Silver on his way out now. The number 21 pick here for the Washington Wizards. Let's see who they select here. Wow, Will Riley. Will Riley out of Illinois. So they draft another scorer. Another scorer heads to Washington. This is a great pick. This is a great pick. This is such a good, like, they're taking no, like, there's no prisoners now for them. There's no, like, no nothing. 6'8", 195 pounds. Reminds me a lot of Danilo Gallinari. Big Ten sixth man of the year. Came off the bench at Illinois this past year. Just an all-around good offensive player. A really good shot maker. This is like he's one of these guys where his shot selection is pretty questionable. You're just like, wow, like, what is he doing taking some of these shots? But then they go in. Like he's one of those players where you're like, don't take that. Oh, it went in. Like, that's how good of a shooter and shot maker that Will Riley is. Out of Illinois, got pretty good court vision. He does a good job finishing at the rim. Really good offensive rebounder. Great at getting second chance points as a wing. Could develop really big time into an offensive weapon. The only problem with him is that he's got to get in the gym. He's not very strong. He's got a thin build. This is somebody that really needs to get in the gym, get stronger, learn how to body up against some NBA bodies. Again, good shot creator. He's a great shot maker. Again, he can be a little bit inconsistent at times, but just a good shot maker. And again, a bad shot maker. He will take bad shots, but listen, he's good at hitting shots through contests. And that's a lot of what you like in today's NBA as well. So the Wizards grabbing Will Riley after the trade with Utah. So they come away with two great scorers, Trey Johnson, Will Riley. They're getting a lot of scoring here at this point in Washington. So a good pick here. My number 25 overall player was Will Riley. So a good pick there by Washington. So now this pick is going to Brooklyn. This was originally Atlanta's pick, but now this pick is going to Brooklyn. So the Nets, again, are on the clock here. Brooklyn is on the clock here again. Again, Will Riley headed to the Washington Wizards, and the Brooklyn Nets are on the clock again at number 22. So, again, this is now a team with 2 picks under their belt already. Igor Demon and Nolan Traore already under their belt. So we have Shams on the screen now. We'll see what that means. So what does this mean here? Because usually that means something is happening, but so far there's no tweet, there's no nothing right now. So I don't see any reporting in that respect. So looks like no changes as of now. But Brooklyn right now still on the clock here at number 22. They have not made their pick yet. The pick is not in at this point. So we'll see where they go here. Boston Sports Summit, Tim Barty. That's right. Everyone else does the heavy lifting. That's all I do, man, is I just sit back and enjoy the ride while everybody else does all the hard stuff for me. That's it. That's the way I live my life. It is. Ask my wife. That's the way I live my life. Usually that results in successful marriages. No. Oh man. Super fun. This is why I need somebody here on the air with me to kind of keep me in check before I go completely just bat crazy. But all right, it looks like the pick is in here for Brooklyn at number 22. Again, they've gone 2 point guards. Igor Demon and Nolan Traore, they're 2 point guards. They're 2 very different point guards, but they've gone with that position twice already. So Igor Demon is more of a facilitator, 6'9" point guard that can really facilitate. Nolan Traore, a very high upside offensive player that can score, and he has a lot of big time talent that's been tracked ever since he was a kid. So Nolan Traore, Igor Demon already on their draft card, the Brooklyn Nets, and now they're with their 3rd first-round pick. They'll be adding another guy into their room. And again, this is another roster where they can almost address anything they want. Now, again, if they get another point guard, I think that would be overkill at this point. But any 3-and-D player, any sort of big man, any sort of front court depth piece would be valuable to them. I will say there's one pick that really did kind of puzzle me. Hanson Yang at 16 for Portland was a really weird pick. Like, I did not expect Hanson Yang to go today. I expected Hanson Yang to go tomorrow. But I mean, so that would be, but here's the thing, like that would be the only pick for me that I think is like a legitimate reach was Hanson Yang. Like that might've been the only pick where I'm like, it's early. Right now, nobody really has made a pick that's made me puzzled except for Portland at 16. That's it. Everything else kind of makes sense. Like Colin Murray Boyles at 9 is an interesting choice. Like I didn't expect him to go top 10, but he's not a bad player. I mean, Colin Murray Boyles was my number 18 player. They took him at 9. But that's the thing with this draft is like after the top 6 guys, you're talking about like the next 15 guys on the board can all be taken, and you're not, and you know, like it's like you're picking them out of a hat. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's nothing crazy going on there. So let's see what goes on here. Brooklyn at number 22. Are we ready for the commissioner? Or have we gotten to that point yet? It looks like we are. Let's fire up the draft chimes for the commissioner, Adam Silver. It says the Atlanta Hawks, but this is going to go to Brooklyn. Drake Powell. So they go score. They go 3-and-D here. Drake Powell out of North Carolina goes to the Brooklyn Nets. This is an interesting pick. Again, they are just getting good basketball players, regardless of position. 6'6", 195, started 24 games in North Carolina. He spent a lot of time on the bench last year. Okay, so this is a guy that did not start the entire season, but he shot 38% from three, 48% from the field. Very skilled offensive player. He's a very steady shooter, wide base. He hits 44% of his standstill threes. So off the catch, standstill threes, he's money. Like, this guy can really hit catch and shoot threes, not off the dribble. Again, wide base. He can drive through and finish through contact. He's a very well-rounded offensive player. He's got some tools defensively. He has real upside to be a legit two-way player, a legit two-way contributor. This is an interesting situation for him. He probably could have used another year in college. North Carolina was not, an incredible team this year. And I think he could have used maybe a little bit more seasoning in college. But again, not a terrible decision. Obviously gets drafted here in the first round at number 22. So it's very specific. But he reminds me a lot of Herb Jones. Like, just a good, wing player that can contribute in some sense. And he might be able to play right away. Again, I think I would have improved his stock. He was my number 31 overall player, but a really solid two-way player. Drake Powell going to the Brooklyn Nets. So this pick here at 23 is proposed to go to Atlanta. So the Hawks were supposed to pick at 13 and then traded back with New Orleans. Now, they have not picked since. So Atlanta, they do not have a pick yet. Gryd Network saying, Mike, EJ Savage, my bad. Let me re-comment on my profile. Mike, thank you, EJ. I really appreciate that. Listen, if you didn't see what our NFL draft coverage was like, you really missed out. Because I don't want to toot my own horn, but EJ and I killed it this year with the NFL draft. Absolutely killed it. So very proud of what we did. Very, very proud. So as I was saying, Drake Powell going to the Nets. So that's Agor Demon, Nolan Traore, and Drake Powell. 3 first-round picks all going to the Nets, and very different styles of player. I really like what the Nets have done tonight. And again, it's been 3 very non-traditional picks, but really interested in what they have going on. I mean, this is it's a really solid plan that they have going forward here. So now the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are here. Oh, here we go. I've got some company now. Look at this. Tim Bonnet. How are you, buddy?
What's up, my guy?
Thank you for joining and, keeping me from going absolutely, batshit crazy. So
gotta protect my guy here. I'll be honest. I'm not the biggest basketball fan. Not fan. Excuse me. I'm not most knowledgeable when it comes to basketball, but I know my stuff.
I'm sure you do. We wouldn't have hired you if you didn't know your stuff.
I mean, I have to talk about the friggin' Celtics. Of course I know my stuff.
Especially if the Celtics are good like they are now. But either way, so let's talk about those Celtics for a minute, Timmy, because
let's do it.
They have made 2. So the whole second apron thing is something else, right? So they've dumped Drew Holiday. They've dumped Kristaps Porzingis. So what's next? What's the plan here for the Celtics going forward?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. What kind of goes under the rug is the fact that new ownership is cheaping out. Yes, granted, the second apron would force them to pay $500 million for basically a 5-man roster.
Oh my God.
It's absolutely absurd.
Bizarre.
Did you just see the Hawks and the Pelicans traded?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a trade that was from before. So yeah, Hawks getting 23, Pelicans moved up before to get their coin.
All right, I got you. But yeah, so it's 500. It's like a stupid number, which again, the NBA, I don't disagree. The NBA should have a little bit of parity, but to have OKC and Indiana as your finals, I'm sorry. There was no storyline. There was nothing, worthwhile watching it. I think ESPN tweeted out that, Game 7 was the most highly rated. Yeah, because it's the only Game 7 in the last 10 years. So spare me on that. It kind of sucks, to be honest with you, as a Celtics fan. I love Drew Holiday. I love Kristaps Porzingis when they played. Porzingis had that phantom illness, which we had no idea what the hell it was.
Right.
And so it's just kind of it's stuff like that's bothersome when the ownership cheaps out, when you have to deal with this, you have to deal with that. It's like, what are we doing?
Right.
It sucks. It sucks that this bald-headed F just treats the NBA like this. You know what? Bring me back the David Stern era where games were rigged and we had teams that meant something in the finals.
Draft chimes have gone off. That means the pick is in for the Atlanta Hawks at number 23. What do we have here as Adam Silver makes the announcement?
Asa Newell.
So, wow. Okay. So you're a little ahead of me then, Timmy, because
sorry.
No, that's okay. Asa Newell goes to the Atlanta Hawks. As it says now, it says the pick is in for the Pelicans, but Asa Newell now going to the Atlanta Hawks. I used to be an organized. That's a lie. I never used to be organized, but at least for today, I used to be organized. So Asa Newell, again, power forward out of Georgia, 6'10", 225, 15.5 points a game, about 7 rebounds. Very high upside on both ends of the floor. He was one of the I guess, tougher evaluations because he was one of these high school players that just had so much upside when coming in and then had some up and downs at Georgia, right? He was just a freshman. He was SEC all freshman. It's not like he had a bad year, but none of his skills became refined, right? Great athlete. He can fly to the rim. He puts back everything he gets his hands on. He's just a crazy dunker in that respect. Not terrible off the dribble. He's not hopeless as a shooter. But again, he's such a raw prospect. This is one of these players where just you're going to need time for him to develop. He doesn't have a true specialty. And like I said, with upside comes risk sometimes. So Asa Newell is one of these guys that I think is, big time upside, but you're taking a risk here. You're going to have to develop him. You're going to have to actually spend time and try to develop this player, cater to his skill set. Reminds me a lot of Marvin Bagley. So if they can get something out of him that was a little bit more than what we've gotten out of Marvin Bagley out of his career, then you might have some sort of a player on your hands. Again, good rebounder and a solid, just athlete, but you're going to need to find a way for him to refine his skill set. So Asa Newell, very interesting pick here for the Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, it just said, up on the screen here, 3-point shot that, as a forward here, that sounds something like the Celtics would just love, seeing how they put up 100 threes in 2 games against friggin' Knicks. Good God almighty. But yeah, that's not for nothing. That's the thing I kind of hate about the NBA, is that, you have these freshmen, and I know everyone's like, oh, well, they can play some of them can come out of high school and some of them come out of freshmen as, they're still great and elite. Yeah, well, you're kind of screwing, I feel like, a lot of these players along with, the March Madness bracket, March Madness tournament, where, again, he's 19. He's raw. You just said it yourself. he's not developed. He's not skilled in any one particular area that would honestly make him worth the 23rd overall pick. So it's kind of like I wish they kind of, to some degree, force these kids to stay in school. And now I know they have the whole G League thing in it. You can do this, that, or the other.
Right.
But, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me where you have these kids ultra raw in a 2-round draft, but they're getting taken so high and they're not really there.
Right.
I mean, everyone wants to say how great Jordan was. Yes, because he was a junior when he left.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had later years, they were so much farther along. They were forced to stay in school, and it helped them develop. It helped them to be better almost immediately when they hit the court in the NBA. But I mean, to see him, I've been seeing his name all night for Jay Billis's, top draft picks, still available. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, stay in school, kids. Right? Stay in school.
You can make more money in school now.
No, hey, listen, that's true. That's true. Okay, so we do have a trade to announce.
Uh-oh.
We do have a trade to announce. So this pick is now being sent to the Sacramento Kings. So Sacramento is now going to be making this pick. Let's fire up the chimes here as Adam Silver comes out. So it looks like I said, the Sacramento Kings have made this trade with the Oklahoma City Thunder for number 24. So the Kings are on the clock. Their pick is in. And so it's actually a good pick here by the Kings, which doesn't feel like happens very often, but it is true. It is Nick Clifford. So this is, I'm big into this kid. I really am. This is one of my favorite players in the whole draft. He was the only player left in my top 10. He was my number 10 overall player. It fits too, because he's wearing the purple suit on draft night and he ends up going to the Kings. How poetic is that? But
best in the draft.
Yeah, right. No kidding. 19 points a game, 6'6", 202. He averaged 9.5 rebounds a game as a guard. This kid really is physical, really solid all-around scorer. He can spot up and hit shots off the dribble and all over the floor. He can finish at the rim with touch. He can explode at the rim and finish over people's heads. Has two-way upside. He blocks shots, gets contests, exceptional rebounder for his size. He's on the older side. He's about 22, 23. So he's a bit on the older side. So he's not a kid, but listen, he's 2-time All-Mountain West tourney, a 5th-year senior. He transferred from Colorado to Colorado State. He's been streaky over the course of his career, but boy, do I just like this kid's game. I think he's got a really translatable game, great defensive player, and if he can consistently hit his shots, then I think the Kings are getting a legitimate contributor right out of the gate here with Nick Clifford. So I'm big into this.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's and that's the thing. You were just saying, yeah, he's on the bit of the older side, but he's probably more well-rounded, more developed than a lot of the kids that are, getting taken at 18, 19 years old.
Right.
And hey, I think that only benefits him. And he's going to friggin' Sacramento. Who the hell is starting for Sacramento?
That's true. It really is. It is true. Who even plays there anymore?
Aaron Fox is gone, right?
Yeah, he's a Spur now. It's just Sabonis. They got rid of everybody except for Sabonis. That's it.
My God, can Sabonis just come to Boston already?
That would be. Let me tell you, that's a great fit. Domantas Sabonis in Boston makes a lot of sense. It really does.
Yeah, he's a better Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, he is. At this point in his career, he absolutely is. So, Sacramento picking up Nick Clifford at number 24 after the trade with Oklahoma City. And now we go to
Orlando,
the middle of Florida to go check in on the Orlando Magic at number 25.
The third worst city in Florida.
The third worst city in Florida? What are the first two?
Correct. Jacksonville is number 1.
Okay.
And then Tallahassee is number 2.
Okay. Oh man! By the way, the national champion Walter Clayton. By the way, our Florida Gators, Timmy.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Clayton.
You keep talking.
Walter Clayton ending up in Utah of all places, but going number 18. Oh, look at that thing! That's hot shit.
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
That's hot shit, dude. Oh my god.
65-63, baby. Go Gators.
So how much did that cost you?
I had a gift card from my aunt on Fanatics, so shout out to her. Put it like that. Shout out to my aunt Karen for that.
I love that. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh man, what a season for them. What a season for
Crazy.
Florida.
Absolutely.
Really something else. Boy, oh boy.
Especially that championship game. Holy crap. Like,
yeah.
I talked to some Florida people that I knew afterwards, and they're like, "Oh, I was never worried. They came back all the time." I'm like, "You kidding me?" Mm-hmm. I was screaming at my television all night long.
Yep.
Like, my dog was probably freaking out. Like, what the hell is going on? I turned the game off from my television and put it on my laptop just so I would not be screaming, because my attention was more towards the TV than my laptop, because it's pissing me off so much. But hey, they pulled it out, baby. It was unbelievable.
That's it, man. That's
now
it.
DJ Lagway has to get his acts together. Let's go.
The whole program's got to get its act together. But DJ Lagway, I like DJ Lagway a lot, dude. I'm telling you, I think there's a Heisman in that kid's future.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think there's a Heisman in that kid's future. The pick is in right now for the Orlando Magic at number 25, as we are inching closer to the end of this first round of the NBA draft. So I had Tyler Redington on. Oh, here we go. As soon as I start going, let's fire up the draft chimes for Adam Silver. Orlando making their pick at number 25.
Oh my God, I feel old.
Jace Richardson at number 25 going to the Orlando Magic. Great value here. This is great value for Orlando. Getting another scorer to take off their bench. The number 19 player on my board reminds me a lot of Dion Waiters. If I can find where I have Jace. He's right here. See, it's getting a little easier for me, Timmy.
Are you talking about his father?
Yeah, right. So Jason Richardson's kid, by the way. Yeah, how old are we? Unbelievable. I remember when Jason Richardson was in the league, but
remember when he was in the dunk contest?
I do remember when he was in the dunk contest.
Oh God.
So speaking of which, Jace Richardson doesn't have the same hops as his dad did. He doesn't have that sort of athleticism, but this kid is a really solid scorer. He can really shoot. Real solid finisher for his size. Again, he's only 6'2", 185. He's more of a two guard, not really an on-ball guard, but great body control. He can kind of contort his body in traffic. So really solid as far as that's concerned. He does well creating his own shot. He's a lefty, which I know is sort of rare in the NBA now. Good athlete, solid lateral quickness. He doesn't have great shot selection yet, but again, that comes with experience. He's going to need to play off ball. He's a bit undersized, and he's not great with his court vision. The ball kind of stops in his hands at certain points, but boy, can this kid score. And at this point in the first round, Jace Richardson, a guy that with that sort of scoring skill set, that's real value here for Orlando. So a good pick here by the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, again, like I said earlier, I'm not much of a college prospect guy. I can't speak to that. All I can say, though, is the fact that it showed his father, Jason, getting drafted in 2001.
Just makes us feel ancient.
Holy shit, do I feel old. Like, my God, he was somebody that he was just electric to watch. And granted, he went to Golden State where, back then basketball player careers went to die, but
Yeah,
it
right.
was, oh my God, that's just wild. Wild. I never thought I'd live to see this day.
You didn't? You never thought you'd live to this far?
Hell, when I was growing up, I was, I never thought I'd live to see 30. And it's not to say that I was like an extremist or anything like that. I'm actually super cautious, but I was like, 30 is just so far away.
Yeah, right.
I'm on the other side of 30, and I'm like, what the? So as I see Jason Richardson, I'm like, my God, where did my childhood go?
So with Jace Richardson being picked,
Yeah.
I have one player left in my top 20. That's Danny Wolf out of Michigan.
Ooh.
So it's Danny Wolf, Adu Thiero, Tyrese Proctor out of Duke, Rasheer Fleming from St. Joseph's, and then Maxim Reynaud out of Stanford. Those are the top 5 guys remaining for me.
Brooklyn, now, Mike, let me ask you, when you put a lot of time and effort into this, where do you find the time? Like, how do you watch all these guys and like put the board together and everything like that? Like, I'm just genuinely interested.
I don't have a life, Tim. I don't have kids yet. Nothing. Like, that's how. I don't do anything else. By the way, they just showed a Domino's commercial on my end. And have you had that new stuffed crust pizza that they've had?
I don't eat Domino's.
Oh my God. I know it's like a sin for me, by the way, being from New York, being from Long Island, and having Domino's pizza. First of all, there is a sincere difference between Domino's and pizza. Okay. Sometimes you're in the mood for pizza, and sometimes you're in the mood for Domino's. Like I think that's fair.
Said a college kid.
Oh, shut it, Tim. Whatever. You're the one who says you feel old.
I'm older than you.
Saying. Anywho, this new stuffed crust pizza from Domino's is gas. All right, I'm just throwing that out there.
Like it's bad?
No, it's good. It's really good. God, Tim, you're old.
I don't know this lingo.
All this hip lingo that the kids use nowadays.
It's gas. The hell does gas mean?
Soon Tim's going to be yelling at kids to start getting off his lawn.
I'm already doing that.
Get off my lawn. Crotchety old man over there. Jeez Louise.
The joys of being from Boston.
And living in Florida now, by the way. He's gone full Florida man. Oh, boy. But the pick is in now for the Brooklyn Nets, by the way. This is going to be the 4th first-round pick for the Brooklyn Nets. And then they're coming up again next. So they will have, unless a trade happens, 5 first-round picks in this year's draft.
In a shitty draft.
Unless I wouldn't even call it a bad draft, but it is a draft that is top-heavy, but then has a lot of role players following. Like that's what I'll say about that. There's a lot of rollies that come later in the draft. So this is going to be this is interesting here. So this is a pick that's part of the Mikal Bridges trade from last year with the Knicks. So God. Brooklyn on the clock now. Their pick is in. Again, Agor Demon, they've got Nolan Traore, they've got Drake Powell already under their belt for this draft. Let's see where they go with these next 2 picks back to back.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, sorry. Come on. I was reading the bottom ticker, and I saw Brooklyn and Atlanta looked like they had a trade earlier, which is why I was like, oh, hold up. No, it's a trade.
Yeah, I haven't talked to you about this, but I hate the way that the NBA does draft trades.
It's awful.
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Literally, I pulled up the ESPN draft day thing.
Uh-huh.
And literally, it's so funny. Almost every pick is a draft or has been traded at some point.
Right. Yeah.
It's wild.
And that's sick. It is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So let's fire up the draft chimes for Adam Silver, the Brooklyn Nets, with their 4th first-round pick of the night. Ben Saroff out of Israel is the pick here for Brooklyn. They take another point guard. Such an interesting choice that they're going with here. Ben Saroff. I am like blown of like just, I don't know. This is their 3rd point guard of the night. And I guess when you have 5 first-round picks, you just kind of go with what you've got. I'm pretty sure Ben Saroff is going to be a drafted stash kid. So you've got something there. A lefty. Reminds me a lot of Goran Dragic. Played for Ulm in the Euro Cup this year. Terrific passer. He really is a terrific passer. He's a playmaker. Great court vision. Even when driving, he's a good handle. He can finish at the rim. He's got some creativity at the rim. Solid athlete. Shows it on both ends. Good defender. He can read passing lanes. He can pick your pocket. He had a bad year shooting the ball this past year. He's not a bad shooter, but he's just got to get more consistent as a shooter. So we'll see what he does as a shot creator later on in his career. But we'll see what he does and if they bring him over at some point soon. But Ben Saroff as a potential draft and stash candidate here at number 26. He goes to Brooklyn at this point in the draft.
Yeah.
My number 34 overall player.
Yeah, that's interesting. And now they're back on the clock again.
Yep.
That out. Surprised. You know, and I must have missed it, but how much time did they drain from the first round? Because I feel like when you have back-to-back picks, you always, there it is. The pick is in, just barely crossed the 3-minute mark. I feel like when you have that first pick and you're picking back-to-back, you're always thinking about who we taking next more than who we taking now. You know what I mean?
Right. So the pick is in here for the Brooklyn Nets. Again, their 5th first-round pick of the night. Agor Demon, Nolan Traore, Drake Powell, and now Ben Saroff. And now they're going to pick up another kid at number 27 with first-round picks.
Yeah.
And listen, it isn't like Brooklyn doesn't need it. The Nets are a team that need first-round picks. They need guys.
Yeah, but see, this is the problem with the NBA, though, is that a 26th and 27th overall pick is not the same as a 26th, 27th overall NFL pick.
No.
That's why I said it's a crappy draft, because like you said, it's a bunch of role players. Great. Brooklyn doesn't need role players. They need superstars. Right. Now, can any of these people turn into superstars? Of course they can. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Right. But as it stands right now, the only kid, maybe 2, that anybody would be interested in is Cooper Flagg and the Rutgers kid.
And Harper. Yeah.
Dylan Harper. So at the end of the day, if you don't get one of those 2, you get nobody. So
yeah. No, listen, there's certainly some truth to that in some sense, where, the NBA draft is such a hard draft to hit on. It really is, because, you just have so many different players and so many different outcomes that could happen. Brooklyn Nets firing it up right here.
There it is.
And the pick for the Nets is, in fact, Adam Silver making the selection here. And Timmy, you're ahead of me by like 10, 15 seconds. Or something like that. So I'm still waiting.
Take your time, Mike. Take your time.
Danny Wolf. All right, so this is a good pick here. Danny Wolf was my top overall player. He ends up going to the Brooklyn Nets. Finally going off, though. You could see how anxious he was in the green room, by the way, waiting to get picked. But Danny Wolf, my number 17 overall player, gets drafted here by the Brooklyn Nets. Listen, I view him as a center. I don't view him as a forward. If I can find his damn thing. Again, like I said, used to be organized, but now it's just a crapshoot. It really is. All right, here it is. Perfect. 7-footer, true 7-footer, 250 pounds, 13 points a game, almost 10 rebounds a game last year at Michigan. He was all region last year in the NCAA tournament, all Big Ten. Junior transfer from Yale, spent 2 years at Yale and then transferred to Michigan. Super fun player to watch. He really is a super fun player to watch. Moves really well laterally and has a great handle for a 7-footer. That's why people can make the case that he can play forward. Can knock down an outside shot. He's got nice touch around the basket. Plays extremely hard. He wears his heart on his sleeve on the court. He really is a hard worker. Real solid playmaker for a big. He's not a terrific athlete, and he plays below the rim. Doesn't have much of a defensive presence, and he doesn't show much upside as a rim protector. But as a pure offensive player, he reminds me a lot of Alperen Şengün in Houston. Like, I really think his upside is that high. He can really make a difference on the offensive end. Such an interesting player to watch. Love seeing Danny Wolf get picked here by the Brooklyn Nets with their 5th first-round pick, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I can't believe they had five picks in this draft. But good for them. All right, now my Celtics are on the clock. They need to take a big. I don't care about Brooklyn, but the Celtics need to take a big. That I know. Like I'm looking at the reports here, and Maxime Reynard, Ryan Kalkbrenner.
That kid's good. Reynard's good.
Reynard, yeah.
I'm a big Maxim Reynard fan. I really am.
Yeah, I think that would be the best thing for him because I don't know if we have any center under contract right now. Like, that's how small we are. The fact that we traded Porzingis and apparently Al Horford's free agent market's heating up. That's wild. The guy's almost 40. He's got shooters left and right. Like, listen, I love Al Horford. Not only as a Gator, but as a Celtic, like, he loves Boston and all that. All right, Celtics pick is in, but it's just the Celtics right now, man. They're caught in this in between world where they're trying not to pay, but also they want to win. Mm-hmm. And with this whole new ownership coming in, which scares the crap out of me, with this whole new second apron nonsense.
It really is nonsense.
I really give me more of a reason to hate the NBA than I already do. Like, that's part of it. Like, it's so dumb. Like, listen, do I hate super teams? Yes, in the sense that if the players are colluding to go to a team, I hate it. But right. if like the Celtics did it, where we traded for Ray Allen, we traded for Garnett, we didn't create the super team that LeBron did. LeBron, Bosh, and Wade did it. Oh my God! Of course.
What?
This effing team.
Okay. The pick is in here for the Boston Celtics, firing up the chimes. Oh, I just saw it too. Yeah, that's a reasonable thing to be upset about. I mean, it's not like a horrible pick or anything, but the Celtics taking Hugo Gonzalez. Hugo Gonzalez. Really interesting direction. I'm surprised that they went with that.
This guy's got, I just saw 3.4 points per game. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Unless this kid can play lockdown defense better than Drew Holiday, I mean, there is no reason for that.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like the Euro stats, let me tell you this, Tim. The EuroLeague stats I don't really take into account because they virtually mean nothing. The way that Euro plays and the way that they space out their players is beyond. So I wouldn't really worry about the stats there.
You're right. It's not that I'm concerned about the 3.4 points per game. That's not necessarily what bothers me. What bothers me is he's 6'6". We have Jason Tatum, who's 6'9" as a wing. We have Jaylen Brown, who's our other wing, at 6'6". We got Derek White as our shooting guard. We got Peyton Pritchard as our point guard. I don't know about you, but I don't like the fact that Tatum's playing a power forward. I don't think that's necessarily good for him. But also, who the hell is going to be the center? Who's going to block the friggin' paint?
Right.
No one. Like, you could, and again, we pick at 32. But are we going to be that stupid where we're not going to draft Maxim Reynard because the guy can't shoot a three to save his life because the nerds in Boston love the wide open 3-point shot?
Maxim Reynard can hit threes.
Okay,
so,
I see. All right, so there we go. So why the hell did you pick him here?
So, well, I mean, listen, I'm with you. I probably would have gone big. Hugo Gonzalez, very good handle for a player his size, moves fluidly around the court, precise touch around the rim. He's really fundamentally sound as a player, and he's a good passer. And he's a decent shooter despite the numbers. He just needs to become more consistent as a threat on the perimeter. Like he's not a great athlete. He doesn't provide much defensively. But as a spot up guy, fundamentally, he can work within a system. Reminds me a little bit of Denny Avdia, but so he's not a bad player. And at this point, it's not really a reach for him. But listen, as far as need, I agree with you. It's not their biggest need that they could have addressed. No,
it's not a need. Like we're set on wings. We're set on scores. Like we don't need that. Hell, this friggin' Simmons kid, like sure. He's fine, I guess, for what we got from Drew Holiday. But at the end of the day, like we need a friggin' big. We don't have a big outside of
Cornette.
No, Cornette's not under contract right now. Oh, damn. I don't want to have to look it up, but I'll look it up. It's just Kada. Yeah. What's his name? Neemias Queta.
Neemias Queta, yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think he's the only big under contract right now. And while I liked what he does in the intermittent, I don't, as it stands right here, right now, I don't see him being the center that's going to play a majority of the season and, help us go further, and not to say that, for example, Maxim Reynard is it, but it's like we need to have that depth and we just don't have it. We haven't had it.
Right. Yeah. No, it's understandable, Timmy. One thing I will say that maybe will put your mind at ease is this draft is very rich with bigs. It's very, very rich with bigs. So if they decided, we're going to take a player that we have higher on our board and we'll address the big later because we can, then that's reasonable to assume. Right. So, we'll see. We'll see what their strategy is. It looks like the pick is in for the Charlotte Hornets This is a pick that is that was part of the Mark Williams trade that was reported earlier, where Phoenix acquired. I guess Phoenix acquired Mark Williams, and then sent this pick in return to the Charlotte Hornets. So Charlotte is going to be making the pick here at number 29 instead of Phoenix.
By the way, you watch ABC or ESPN?
ESPN.
Okay. I was going to ask if I forget this guy's name, the former GM, I think, of Golden State.
Bob Myers.
Bob Myers. Yeah. Yeah, he's on with Stephen A. on ABC. That's what I'm watching.
Oh. You chose to watch that one instead of the Jay Billis.
I love Jay Billis. Kendrick Perkins is funny as hell to me.
Stephen A., with all due respect.
And that Southern drawl of his. He's funny. He can be a little over the top, but
he can.
I love Jay Billis. Jay Billis is him and Tim Ligo are my favorite ESPN basketball analysts.
Yeah. Yep. I've taken a liking to Gilbert Arenas nowadays too. Got to tell you.
I can't tell if he's a hot take artist or not, because there are some things where I'm like, hey, that's hot takey right there.
It's true. That's true. That's fair. Pick is in here at number 29 for Charlotte. You say this poor kid?
I did.
Oh, boy. The Charlotte Hornets taking home Liam McNeely here. The pick is in. Let me fix that. Pick is in. Liam McNeely. Now the pick here for Charlotte. My number 29 overall player. And what do you know? He goes number 29.
Number 29.
Boy, am I smart.
Spot on.
Yeah, look at me. Hot shit. That's what I am.
Hot shit.
Yeah. Can I find his thing, though? No, of course not. Why would I be able to do that?
Oh, baby. What's that?
Of course, it was the last page that I have here. 6'7", 210 pounds, Liam McNeely out of UConn, 14.5 points a game. This kid's a shooter. That's what this kid's specialty is. Excellent standstill shooter, even though the numbers don't show it. He hit 43% of his spot-up threes. His three-point percentage on the year is hovering around 32%, but on standstill spot-up threes, he's hitting 43% of those shots. Wow. He's going to thrive in the catch and shoot. He moves well off the ball. He'll be able to grab some boards. He's got some long arms. He can pop off a screen, set and pop off screens. He's a bit of a combo forward. I think you can kind of play him as a small ball 4 if you really wanted to. Profiles more as a 3. But there's not much else you can really hang your hat on. He's not a crazy finisher. He's not a great defender. But he's a big-time shot maker. He's a big-time shooter. Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the comparison for him. Again, that tall, lanky, small forward that can knock down shots. Liam McNeely is a real solid player here going to Charlotte, pairing him with Con Knippel. They've gotten, again, 2 big-time shooters in this draft so far, Liam McNeely, Con Knippel. They're trying to supplement that backcourt quite a bit.
Yeah, now this kid comes from a whole line of athletes. What was it? His great-grandfather played at Tulsa. They're talking to his mother, who she played in college. That's always so cool to see, too, when you have, a lineage like that.
Yeah, right. And now it's for Barry's favorite team, the Los Angeles Clippers, who he hates with all of his being.
All because LeBron plays for the Lakers.
Oh, is that why you think?
He's a LeBron guy. Of course it is.
Well, I'm a LeBron guy too, but...
Yeah, are you a Cavs fan or are you a LeBron fan?
I'm a Cavs fan.
Thank you.
I'm a Cavs fan.
Thank you. That's how it should be. But you're a weirdo because you grew up in Long Island and you're not a...
Well, because when I started watching basketball when I was a kid, I loved LeBron James. I didn't have any connection towards the Knicks. My family is not a huge basketball family. So, my dad was never really a Knicks fan or anything like that. So I loved LeBron James. So when I grew up a Cavs fan, and then when he left, I just stayed with the Cavs, and I loved Kyrie Irving, and like that was the whole deal. But I don't know. Sue me.
It's people like you that I just do not understand.
What do you mean you don't understand? I just explained it to you. You still don't understand, man?
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yikes! Golly.
It's like you're not even a hockey fan, right?
No.
Oh God, you're killing me.
But if I was a hockey fan, I probably wouldn't be a fan of either New York team. I'll tell you that much.
Say if you weren't a fan of the Islanders, like they're made for you.
I don't know.
Do you know that a guy bought the Islanders and owned it for like barely a day because he never had the appropriate funds? He lied about all the money.
Oh,
there's a great 30 for 30 on it, by the way. So
I got to get on the 30 for 30 game. I think
they're great. They used to be great. Let's put it that way.
It's true. That's true. So we are here to the last pick of the first round here. The pick is in here for the Los Angeles Clippers to wrap up the first round of this year's draft. Not a whole lot of trade movement. I mean, there was some, but nothing too complicated. Not players being bounced around from place to place, which we get sometimes. There wasn't a lot of that this year.
It was already like predetermined.
Yeah. Listen, I'm all right with that. Edu Thiero right now, the best player on the board for me. He's number 21 on my board. Edu Thiero, Tyrese Proctor, Rasheer Fleming, Maxim Reynaud, and then Kobe Bray is maybe the best shooter of the whole draft. He's my number 30 player. That kid can shoot the lights out of the building. So I would love to see where that kid goes. If he can slip all the way to like 49 to where the Cavs are, that'd be great.
Are they doing round 2 tomorrow?
Round 2 is tomorrow, sir. Round 2 is tomorrow. So I get to go to bed a little earlier tonight.
I was going to say, if they do round 2 tonight, get out of here.
they are. So I'll be doing round 2 tomorrow.
Nice.
And you are welcome to come back to me if you feel like it. You don't have to, but just to keep your good old buddy company, because I got a feeling I'm by myself tomorrow. So please,
please, for
the love of God.
If I'm around, I'll try to sneak on for a few and probably bitch about my Celtics for picking another friggin' guard or wing or
picking another European guard.
I mean, listen, the Europeans one thing. It's it's just like, what are you doing? You don't need a wing. You get plenty in and wings. You still have Sam Hauser, who you threatened to trade all day today. So
yeah, right.
Like, what are we doing? You don't need it. I hate how they systematically dismantled this team, all because the NBA got freaking stupid and taxed owners more. Dumb. All in the name of fairness.
Come on.
Yeah. If teams like the Celtics, Lakers aren't in the finals, it's useless.
All right, here we go. Commissioner walking up to the podium for the Clippers at number 30. And the pick is, wow, Yannick Conan Niederhauser goes number 30. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. I did not expect him to go today. I did not expect Yannick Conan Niederhauser, the first round pick in Penn State history, goes to the Los Angeles Clippers. That is insane. Center out of Penn State. I am blown away that he got drafted in the first round. I am. I'm like, there's no way I could have predicted that. Jackson Hayes right now is the comparison. Listen, he's a big dude. 7'1", 245, good physical tools. Breakout season last year at Penn State, 13 points a game, 6 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. Listen, he's got some upside as a defender. We'll see what that translates to in the NBA. I have a feeling this kid plays next year for them. So Yannick Conan Niederhauser goes to the Clippers at number 30. And that is how we end the first round of this draft.
Crazy. And if just cool seeing his transition. Played in born in Switzerland, and then went to Northern Illinois. Didn't do much. Came to Penn State, and like you said, just had a breakout year last year.
Crazy.
Wow. And for a program like Penn State to not have a first-round pick until tonight.
That's insane. I can't believe that. Never. That's crazy. I mean, they're not a basketball school, obviously.
No, but still.
Never? I'm with you. That's a little nuts. So, all right, cool stuff, man. I mean, I'm glad you came on with me because I think I would have gone crazy if you didn't. But
help the guy out here.
Yeah. So, oh boy, make sure you tune into the Gryd's draft coverage on YouTube. Again, I'm Mike Guido. That's Tim Barnard, who hung out with me for a little while. I appreciate it. Thank you to Tyler Redington, by the way, for chiming in on about the first half of the first round. So we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow night, the second half of this NBA draft, the second round, all 29 picks of it, which I don't remember the last time we got a full 60 picks in an NBA draft. Everybody gets picks removed for some reason. I don't know. I don't get it. But all right, that does it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. NBA draft coverage here on the Gryd. We'll see you then.